p.m. Monday evening in Washington, D.C. Temperature 76 degrees. There is the United States Capitol, and about 13 miles to the east, Landover, Maryland, home of FedEx Field, home of the Washington Redskins, who are coming out onto the field tonight to meet the Philadelphia Eagles as we conclude week 2 of the 2002 National Football League season. Al Michaels, John Madden, welcome to our nation's capital, where all of the talk, as always, is about the Washington Redskins. Steve Spurrier coming to town. Good start last week, put on a great show, beat Arizona 31-23. Meanwhile, the Eagles are a team a lot of people expect to see in the Super Bowl. But last week, they blew a 14-point halftime lead, gave up 17 points in the second half, and lost to Tennessee. And, John, you never want to call a Week 2 game a critical game, but for the Philadelphia Eagles, I guess we can say this one is very, very important.
I think it is. And then you get the feeling last night when we were talking to Andy Reid and some of the Eagle players that they were still reeling from that game against Tennessee last week, that they felt they blew it. And now, when you still feel that way the night before a big game like this, I think a couple things can happen. One, it can bring you down, which I don't think is going to happen, or it can bring you up. And I will darn near guarantee you that in the third and fourth quarter, and usually these games go down to that fourth quarter, the Eagles are going to play a lot tougher than they did last week.
Of course, Donovan McNabb, as always, is the key man. Now, as far as Steve Spurrier is concerned, he comes into the National Football League, creates a tremendous splash. They're talking about the fun and gun and all of the points they'll put up on the board. Is this an offense that we have seen before with a different name, or is this an entirely different thing?
You know, I've studied that, and I've tried to find out what is different. And the big thing, Darryl Green told me, is Steve Spurrier's attitude. He is going to attack you, and no matter what happens, he's going to keep attacking you. And the big difference is, you know, like the West Coast offense is you throw short, you let the guy catch the ball and run. Steve Spurrier wants to throw deep, so he's always going to have someone go deep. He has his quarterback look deep and then come short. But I'll tell you, it's exciting, and he's exciting.
That's the fun and gun. We'll have some fun tonight. Great NFC East matchup tonight. Philadelphia and Washington coming up on Monday Night Football. Tonight's quarterback comparison is brought to you by McDonald's. Washington's Shane Matthews threw for 327 yards and 3 touchdowns last week and was named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. For Philadelphia's Donovan McNabb, it was a tale of 2 halves. He threw 3 touchdown passes in the first half, but had only 4 completions and was intercepted twice in the second half against the Titans. Biggest stadium in the NFL, more than 86,000 looking on. Donovan McNabb and the Eagles coming into town to meet Steve Spurrier's Redskins on Monday Night Football. Kickoff coming up.
Got a hot tip from my broker today.
Yeah, what is it?
Tacoma Con.
I got that same tip from my broker yesterday.
I got that same hot tip from my broker last week.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
There's never been a better time for Charles Schwab. At Schwab, we don't give hot stock tips. Our expert advice is based on research grounded in facts, not hype. And as always, designed for individual investors. To learn more, call 1-800-4SCHWAB.
ABC Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland. Ready for the kickoff. But first, to Melissa Stark with Steve Spurrier.
Well, in 12 seasons at Florida, Steve, your offense has put up astronomical numbers. Last week, the Redskins put up 31 points. What is it about your offensive system that makes it so productive?
Oh, Melissa, I don't have the answer for that. We got a lot of good players here with the Redskins. The line really blocked well for Shane, and our receivers caught everything last week. Hopefully it'll go like that tonight, but the Eagles, they got a very good defense.
Speaking of Shane, your quarterback, Shane Matthews, a lot of success at Florida, not a lot of success in the NFL. What makes you think he'll be successful for you?
He played very well at Florida, as did Danny Warfel. So that's really all I know, and he's played very well here. So whatever happened before, you know, I have no control over that. He's played well for us. Hope it'll happen again tonight.
Steve, thanks.
Thanks.
All right, Melissa, just before we start, let's join the public address announcer, Mark Kessler.
Ladies and gentlemen, earlier this week, the NFL family lost one of the legends of the game. Please stand and join the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles in a moment of silence to honor the memory of Johnny Unitas, a quarterback for all time who brought glamour and popularity to pro football. Thank you.
A moment of silence that was observed in all of the NFL stadiums. You saw a shot, of course, of the former great Redskin quarterback Sonny Jurgensen. And, of course, anybody who saw Johnny Unitas will never forget it.
Yeah, it was the Johnny Unitases that helped build this league into what it is today. You know, that if it weren't for guys like Johnny playing like he did back in those days, you don't know what these days would be.
You're right. A very pivotal figure. And here we go with David Akers ready to kick off for the Eagles. The Redskins will get the ball at the outset of the game. The kick goes into the end zone. And from 4 yards in, Kenny Watson is told by Darius Thompson to stay there. They'll start at the 20, and let's take a look at the Washington offensive unit.
Shane Matthews, University of Florida.
Stephen Davis, Auburn.
Brian Johnson, Boise State.
Rod Gardner, Clemson.
Darius Thompson, Baylor University.
Jerron Flemister, Iowa.
Chris Samuels, Alabama.
David Laverne, San Jose State.
Larry Moore, BYU.
Brendan Stye, Nebraska.
John Jansen, Michigan.
So Shane Matthews, who played for Spurrier at Florida a decade ago on first down, going to the air, drops it off underneath to Stephen Davis, who last week carried the ball 26 times and caught 7 passes as well, tackled by Sean Barber. Matthews with no huddle. This was the way they started last week. It's not so much of a hurry up as it is no huddle, calling the plays at the line of scrimmage.
That's the thing Steve Spurrier likes, and he can talk to his quarterback all the way up to the snap.
2nd and 3, and that is Davis carrying for a first down to the 33. Quickly, the Philly defense.
Brandon Whiting, California.
Corey Simon, Florida State.
Dalton Walker, Tennessee. Hugh Douglas, Central State University.
S. Barber, University of Richmond, VA.
Levon Kirkland, Clemson.
Carlos Emmons, Arkansas State University.
Troy Vincent, Wisconsin.
Blaine Bishop, Ball State.
Brian Dawkins, Clemson.
Bobby Taylor, Notre Dame.
Veteran secondary, Blaine Bishop, of course, coming over after all of those years with first the Houston Oilers and then, of course, the Titans after they moved to Tennessee. From the 33-yard line, Matthews hangs in the pocket, throws over the middle, and that one's out to the 39 to Brian Johnson, the fullback. So 2 passes, 1 run, and they've gained 19 yards on the first 3 plays.
You know, one of the great matchups today is going to be Chris Samuels, one of the better tackles in football, against Hugh Douglas, one of the better pass rushers. And Hugh Douglas is an interesting guy. Watch him here. He's one of the few guys that uses a 4-point stance. You see him here now. Now he wants to get to Samuels before Samuels gets to him. That time, Chris Samuels got to Hugh Douglas first.
And Douglas then got to Matthews as Davis on a sweep takes him across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Stephen picks up a couple, setting up a 3rd down and 2 as Brandon Whiting, the right end, makes the stop.
I'll tell you one thing, Stephen Davis is going to get the ball a heck of a lot here tonight. Now they come in with this Steve Spurrier fun and gun and throw the ball around, and they're worried that Stephen Davis won't get it. I'll tell you, both running it and catching it, Stephen Davis will probably get 30 touches tonight.
26 last week, averaged 4 yards a carry, 3rd and a long yard from the 42-yard line. Matthews with a long count, straight ahead, give it to Davis, and Davis, the workhorse, takes it up to the 43-yard line and a first down.
That's the one thing I like about this Redskin offense is you can throw it and you try and get it deep, and all these things that Steve Spurrier likes to do and is trying to do. But if it doesn't work, the thing that he has, he can go to Stephen Davis. But here we're going to watch Brendan Stye here, the right guard. You see, he just drives out, gets his man stood up, then right at the end, gets him turned just a little. Just turn Corey Simon just a little, let Stephen Davis get by.
Davis comes out of the game on this play, and Matthews then throws, and to the man who had come in for Davis. That was Kenny Watson operating as the tailback. And another case of Matthews looking long and then coming down, and looking underneath and throwing low.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have a rule or word for it, and it's touchdown and then check down. You look for the touchdown first or the deep one first. If that's not there, then you come back to your shorter one or your check down.
2nd and 10 from the 43. I love when they asked Spurrier last week about all of the running he did. He said, you can't believe everything you read. 2nd and 10 as Matthews throws over the middle, and that's caught near midfield, taken by Kenny Watson out of Penn State, tackled by Hugh Douglas.
You know, one of the things that Jim Johnson was saying is we have to knock Shane Matthews down. They felt that last week that they played Arizona, and Arizona didn't knock him down enough.
Well, there is Spurrier. He calls the play into Matthews. He's on the headset to Shane's helmet. And then Jim Johnson, the Philly defensive coordinator, on 3rd down and 4 from the 49, seeking a 3rd straight first down. And that time the pass is knocked away, incomplete. And it's 4th down. N.D. Kalu, former Redskin, knocked it away from Kenny Watson.
And Shane Matthews had plenty of time because the Eagles only rushed 3 that time. Here you're going to see Hugh Douglas right here on Chris Samuels. Again, they just have a 3-man rush, but Samuels, if he can get his hands on him and get him pushed to the outside, he's really much bigger and stronger than Hugh Douglas.
Brian Barker, who's been punting around the league for 13 years, to kick it away to the ex-Redskin Brian Mitchell. And Mitchell's going to let it bounce at the 6, and it bounds into the end zone. So Spurrier shaking his head. Washington had the ball for 3:47. And give it to Philadelphia at the 20 when we come back. ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Madden NFL 2003 from EA Sports. It's in the game. Dr. Pepper and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. BU, nothing's better, Dr. Pepper. Chrysler, drive equals love. And Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. Jeremiah Trotter went to the Pro Bowl as an Eagle last year, now a Redskin. They couldn't come to terms. They made him a free agent. Washington picked him up, and Philadelphia on first down from the 20-yard line. Their first offensive play. McNabb in the pocket with great protection, and wide open at the 40 is the former Redskin James Thrash, and he takes it to the 47-yard line for a 33-yard gain right off the bat, tackled by Sam Shade.
Yeah, I don't think that the Redskin defense ever did get set. Let's just watch James Thrash. He's out here in the end man out there, and he just comes up, and then he's on there with Champ Bailey, and then he just runs to the inside. And just watch him here. That's just a spike pattern where he goes up inside. The outside guy runs a deeper route.
McNabb in the pocket again, this time a screen to Deuce Staley. Staley to the 41-yard line. That's a gain of 6, tackled by Trotter. And let's take a look at the Philadelphia offense.
Donovan McNabb, Syracuse University.
Deuce Staley, South Carolina.
Cecil Martin, Wisconsin.
Ty Pinkston, University of Southern Mississippi.
James Thrash, Missouri Southern.
Chad Lewis, BYU.
Trey Thomas, Florida State.
Doug Brzezinski, Boston College.
Hank Fraley, Robert Morris.
Jermaine Mayberry, Texas A&M Kingsville. John Runyon, Michigan.
2nd down and 4 now for the Eagles from the 41-yard line. Dorsey Levens is in the backfield, former Packer. McNabb throwing, and a fingertip catch made by Pinkston. Todd Pinkston, the slender one at 6'2", 170 pounds, down the sideline, picking up the first down, a 26-yard gain.
And it's against the veteran Darrell Green. You're going to see Darrell Green is up here. Here's Pinkston right here. He does a little stutter and go. Darrell Green got caught up right there, but that had to be a perfect throw, and that was a perfect throw by Donovan McNabb. Look at that there. It was where only Pinkston could get it, and there was no way Darrell Green could touch it.
Green, 20th year and probably the final one for him in the league. And through the middle goes Deuce Staley for a gain of 5 to the 15-yard line. Donovan McNabb, selected in 1999 out of Syracuse. Remember, that's the year that Tim Couch was chosen first, and then the Eagle fans all wanted them to go for Ricky Williams, but they picked McNabb. Cincinnati went for Achilles Smith. Then Indianapolis took Edgerrin James before Williams was even selected, of course, by New Orleans, and now he's playing with Miami.
He was the right guy.
He was the right guy. 2nd down and 5. The catch is made at the 8, and really paying the price was James Thrash. David Terrell knocks him down.
David Terrell did more than knocked him down. He looked like he depleted him and may have knocked some other stuff out of him. This is what you want. I mean, they're going to catch those short ones, but when they do, you have to do this to him. He wants to go that way, and you make him go backwards. I don't know if you have to do that walking and stuff.
No.
But that's what you have to do. And then create this down, this 3rd down. And this is kind of a 3rd and 3 or 4. This is a passing down. They took him out of any possibility of a run threat.
From the 8, McNabb, unless it's McNabb who's the run threat. And McNabb seeks the 1st down, has it, and has the touchdown. And that's one of the things that does make the Eagles different. They might not have a run threat except if McNabb has nobody open.
And that's the thing. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles are the closest thing to a one-man gang there is. And this one man in this gang is Donovan McNabb. I mean, he can throw it, he can run it and throw it, or he can do like this. He can run it. He's gained 10 pounds, he said, so he can take the hits. He weighs 240 pounds now. He can run like a fullback.
Told us he bulked up during the offseason. Extra point by Akers is good. And McNabb, now playing in his 7th game against Washington in his career, has really hurt them through the years with his feet. Not necessarily his arm, but his feet, as he does here. 7-0 Eagles. Oddly, the Eagles' first rushing touchdown since before the halfway mark of last season. First rushing TD in their last 10 regular season games, as McNabb takes it in to cap an 80-yard 6-play drive, and now Akers to kick off for the Eagles, who lead 7-0. At the 1-yard line, Kenny Watson up past the 20 and taken down up at the 28-yard line. Tackle made by Rashard Cook. 8:04 left in the opening quarter in our nation's capital. Spurrier ready to send Matthews back out onto the field, with the Philadelphia Eagles on top of the Washington Redskins, 7-0. Philadelphia with the early lead on top of the Washington Redskins, 7-0. Donovan McNabb in 6 games against the Eagles, as you can see in his career, averaging only a little bit more than 5 yards per pass. Not very good. 7 TDs, 6 interceptions. But look at that rushing. 8.1 yards per carry against the Washington Redskins. 8.1, a touchdown here. And now Washington has it at the 27-yard line. On 1st down, here's Matthews throwing, and it's caught up at the 31-yard line by Stevens, who's tackled by Troy Vincent. Vincent back in action after suffering a knee injury in preseason, John, and missing last week's game.
There's the old ball coach. He has that list of plays. We're talking about, how many plays he has in the list and what the list he's in. Oh, it's just an old list of ball plays.
Just a ball coach with ball plays, and here's a play over the middle, and that's a good-looking ball play to Rod Gardner, their #1 draft choice out of Clemson last year, tackled by Brian Dawkins in the 1st down at the 41 after a 14-yard gain.
And the Eagles figure that they have to be physical with Gardner. That he's the type of receiver that you have to get your hands on, and you see they don't touch him at all. You see, he started up, and he just gets on the inside shoulder, and then he makes that in cut without any butt at all. Now watch Hugh Douglas here. He gets right by Chris Samuels. That's the good news. The bad news is the guard, Brzezinski, the guard's right there for him.
Screen on 1st down. Davis, but nowhere to go, no blocking, and taken down by Kirkland. Levon Kirkland, the longtime Steeler. Then he went to the Seahawks, and now he comes over with Trotter going to Washington. It's going to be Kirkland and Barry Gardner as Philadelphia's middle linebackers this season.
And Kirkland is awfully big. We were talking to Andy Reid last night about how big Kirkland is. He's listed at 275 pounds, and the only thing Andy said is he doesn't weigh as much as me, and he's somewhere between 275 and 300.
No gain on the play. 2nd and 10 from the 41-yard line. And taken down in the backfield by Darwin Walker is Stephen Davis.
And that's always what you have to do to the run. You have to get penetration. You have to get back in there and get in their backfield before they get started. And that's exactly what Walker does. You're going to see him here. You see, he's going to get penetration right there. He gets in the left-hand stance, and he just does a swing move right in that gap between the center and the guard.
He beats Laverne on the play, and he's the guy taking the spot of Hollis Thomas, outstanding defensive tackle, gone for the season, hurt in preseason. So Walker now a starter. Matthews airs it out, and no Redskin is in the neighborhood. The pass incomplete. Al Harris back to cover.
You know, one thing, it's tougher to throw those deep passes, and Steve Spurrier knows this as well as anyone, when you get 3rd and long. When you like to throw deep is on first down is a good down. You know, when there's still a little threat of a possible run, 2nd and short. But when you get 3rd and real long and you want to throw deep, that's what they're going to always take away.
Now Barker to kick. His first kick went into the end zone, a 51-yarder, a net of only 31, and this is not a very good kick. A wobbly duck that is down at the 36-yard line. So Philadelphia taking over after a 27-yard Barker boot. Ty Willingham, the new coach at Notre Dame. His Fighting Irish are 3-0. They meet Michigan State this Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Here on ABC, Virginia Tech, Texas A&M, BYU, Georgia Tech, and Colorado and UCLA are the other games this Saturday. Now from the 35-yard line, McNabb, a toss back to Levens, and as McNabb went down, so did Dorsey Levens for no gain. Redskin defense now.
Ronaldo Wynn, Notre Dame. Dan Wilkinson, The Ohio State University. Carl Powell, University of Louisville.
Bruce Smith, Virginia Tech.
LeVar Arrington, Penn State.
Jeremiah Trotter, Stephen F. Austin State University.
Jesse Armstead, Miami.
Champ Bailey, Georgia.
Sam Shade, University of Alabama.
David Terrell, Texas El Paso.
Fred Smoot, D. Mississippi State University.
Yes, sir, the great Bruce Smith. Still in action, 18th year out of Virginia Tech, on his way to the Hall of Fame 5 years after retirement, as the catch is made by the ex-Packer Antonio Freeman, who was picked up toward the end of preseason.
And I think is a real addition to this team, because they need that veteran guy. And even Donovan McNabb was saying last night, he said, you know, Antonio Freeman, he said, you can sit around and talk about how you used to do it at Green Bay. You know, what did the Packers do when they were winning? What did Brett Favre do? How did the receivers get along with a quarterback? And he was saying he brings a lot more to the team than just being the 3rd wide receiver.
3rd and 2. McNabb is 5 for his first 5. Still pitching a perfect game, and the pass is complete to Freeman again. Back-to-back to Antonio Freeman. First down at the 42-yard line.
You know, and Freeman is one of those tough guys, and has always been a tough receiver that will work the middle. And this is exactly what he does here. He's going to come down, and he's going to come in. You watch him here. He's going to break in here to the right in the middle, come under control, and Donovan McNabb throws a perfect pass to him. But that's what Freeman does. Antonio Freeman has always been good when you get inside the red zone, and he's always been good in the slot, running a pattern in the middle.
1st and 10. Nice fake, lots of time, and that pass is the first incomplete pass. Sam Shade knocks it down as McNabb trying to get it into the tight end, Chad Lewis.
You know, one of the things they're doing is they're making LeVar Arrington a pass rusher. Last year, he only had a half a sack, and he didn't come. He wasn't in the backfield much. They didn't blitz him much. They didn't line him up as a defensive lineman. That time, they blitzed him. But I'll tell you, Chad Lewis did a good job of blocking him.
He did.
But he kind of likes that. He said, that's how I got here at Penn State. That's what I was. I was a rusher, and now in Marvin Lewis's defense, he's more of a rusher.
Good enough to get to the Pro Bowl last year. 2nd down and 10. McNabb out of the pocket, buys time, hits Deuce Staley. Staley inside the 25 to the 20-yard line, and there are some Philly fans here because you hear the Deuce chant.
And we're seeing it all from McNabb here. We've seen him just stand in the pocket and throw the ball perfectly. We've seen him take off and run with the ball and run it in for a touchdown. And in this play, we're going to see where he's going to take off, go back, and then come out here to his right. You see, he looks, he reads. They get caught inside. Now he runs out here and throws the ball, and that's a triple threat. He can stand in the pocket and throw it. He can run it, or he can do like this, run and throw it.
Deuces wild, 22 yards from number 22 to the 20-yard line. 1st and 10. This drive began back at the 35. The Redskins have yet to show they can stop the Eagles on either drive. And that pass, if it's complete, is for a loss. And the head linesman with Ohalete coming up with the football at the end of the play. And we're still waiting for a signal on the field. Dorsey Levens was the intended receiver. No signal yet. So Bob McElwee is the referee.
They have to call something, and they don't have a signal for, I don't know what it was.
Right.
So that's it right there. Bob McElwee, when they wave their hand, that usually means I don't know what happened, but we're going to stand here and talk and find out.
Well, you have to make a call, because if you're going to challenge and overturn it, you need something to overturn. And if you don't make a call to begin with, there's nothing to overturn.
Donovan McNabb on that last play didn't see Antonio Freeman.
Down by contact.
So they're saying the pass was complete for a loss. McNabb to Levens. Now they're saying down by contact, and the question is, does Washington want to challenge? But I don't know that they can, because we didn't hear a whistle.
No, and it's ruled down by contact.
2nd down, but there was no signal made initially on the field. 2nd down and 12 after a loss of 2. And McNabb now in the pocket to Staley. Screen, gets it to the 16-yard line. Tackled there by Ronaldo Wynn.
You just feel early in this game that the Philadelphia Eagle offense, and of course McNabb is the biggest part of that, has more speed than this Washington Redskin defense, that they're just running past them. That, that Donovan McNabb, when he's running away from him. When they catch a pass, they're running away from him, and they don't have the speed to catch him.
Marvin Lewis came over from Baltimore, where he guided the Ravens, he and Brian Billick, to the Super Bowl championship 2 years ago. And then when Steve Spurrier came here, Lewis, one of the first guys he brought over as the defensive coordinator. And Lewis, I believe, is the highest paid assistant coach in the league at about $1 million per. Timeout called by Washington with 1:38 left in the first. Philadelphia leading the Redskins 7-0 and driving.
Are you ready for some football?
Next week to Florida we go, and the Rams come in 0-2, losing yesterday to the Giants. The Buccaneers were in Baltimore, where John Gruden got his first win as Tampa's head coach. A shutout over the Ravens. It's the Rams and the Bucs, and what a rivalry that's been over the past 2 seasons on Monday night next week. Now after the Washington timeout on 3rd and 7, McNabb has to get to the 10 for the first down. Fluttering pass, and it's taken short of the first down, taken in by James Thrash, but it's 4th down coming up.
And Andy Reid is wasting no time. He's sending that field goal team in. He's not going to let anyone talk him into going for it on 4th down. Down the road, if you don't get that first on 3rd, he's not going to give you another shot. I think this is the right thing to do.
But a good drive again for the Eagles. They went 80 yards on their first drive. They picked up 53 on this thus far. Now a 30-yard attempt for one of the best kickers in the league, who made his debut as a Redskin 4 years ago. It's good, but a flag is down at the 13-yard line.
I tell you, if it's against the Redskins,
it is.
Yep, that's going to be a first down.
Now do you take the points off the board here?
Yes.
Offside, number 56, defense. 5 yards, first down.
LeVar Arrington, and he's been prone to lining up offside occasionally.
And I would take the points off the board, and Andy Reid is doing that. I think when you get down and you're this close, that you have to do it. But you see LeVar Arrington here is at the end, right down here, and you'll see that I don't know what the heck makes him jump. I mean, there's no movement or anything, and there's no snap count, and then he just looked like he was trying to time something up, and he just jumped off sides. And that was a big one, because that in essence could be a 4-point play.
And a very demoralizing play to a Redskin defense, having a lot of problems at the outset of this game. Under a minute to go in the period, and here is McNabb. He's going to take off, and he takes it from the 7 down to about the 2.5.
I think that was an organized run. Did you see Chad Lewis? He was, instead of a receiver, the tight end was out in front, and he was like a lead blocker. we can see Chad Lewis is right here, and you see he's coming out, and he's going to lead block right here. You see he's not looking for anything other than someone to block. So that was an organized run, and of course, as you say, when you have a Donovan McNabb and you get down there and you want a running threat, he's the biggest running threat you have.
Nice pick by Jeff Rice, the umpire. 2nd and goal from the 2. Fake give off his back foot, pass caught, touchdown to Jeff Thomason. So they take the 3 off the board, add 4 more, and with 9 ticks left in the opening period, Philadelphia with a 13-0 lead going on 14.
That was a heck of a catch too by Thomason. That's the one that you go the play fake here, because you got him playing goal line, so you fake into the line there to hold him, and then you get that extra free rusher coming, and you just have to get the ball out there. McNabb does a heck of a job getting it out there, and Thomason makes a pretty good catch.
Akers' point after is good. For the first time in 22 seasons, the Eagles have come into Washington and scored 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. So instead of 10-0, it's 14-0, and we check in with Melissa.
Well, Andy Reid says what makes Donovan McNabb different is the time that he spends trying to improve. Well, get this. During the offseason, not only does McNabb train his body, he trains his eyes. He practices throwing and reading defenses while wearing glasses called strobe specs. And this is what he sees. He said it works because it's so distracting. It kind of looks like defenders flying in front of you. It helps eliminate tunnel vision. And when you take them off, everything seems to slow down.
What do you think, Josh? We try to call a game like that?
I've had that look before. I've been hit and stood up and had that look. I didn't know that was one you tried to get. I thought that was one that happened to you when you got doinked.
I've had that look before, but not from getting hit.
I wouldn't want that. That's something if you say, do you want that or do you not want that? I think that's one you don't. I think you have to take aspirin when you get that.
You do. But it's whatever he's doing, it's working. This has been a near perfect first quarter for the Eagles.
Yeah, and he's done it all. I mean, he showed Donovan McNabb, like we said earlier, in the pocket, showed him running with the ball, organized run and scrambling, and then running and throwing the ball.
Akers, 3rd kickoff of the night for him, bouncing ball fielded inside the 10 by Kenny Watson, and he'll bring it up to the 29-yard line.
We were talking earlier that you could just feel these Eagles last night were still upset from last week's game, and that can either bring you down or pick you up. And I just felt that it was something that they had that feeling, but they were going to come out here as determined as you could be. And I just had that feeling last night that they were going to be that way, and I had that feeling tonight that they are that way.
And Andy Reid has watched his team outgain the Redskins 140 yards to 40. 1st and 10 from the 29-yard line. A little shovel to Davis, and Davis gets taken down. Knee went down at the 29 for no gain. So that is the end of the first quarter, with the Philadelphia Eagles coming into our nation's capital and leading the Washington Redskins 14-0. Monday Night Football back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Marvin Lewis has a few choice words for his defensive unit. They gave up 140 yards in 15 minutes of action.
Well, he was saying that he wants the Eagles, after they go through their script, which was the first 25 plays, then he makes his adjustments. And the Eagles have shown him everything, and Marvin Lewis is over there having a heck of a lot of adjustments to make.
Matthews on 2nd down. Little screen, incomplete for the moment. And it's all Philadelphia. McNabb was 11 of 12 for 122 yards.
And, he can play that way. I mean, I've seen Donovan McNabb do this, and sometimes he'll go the other way, and you'll say that he's not getting the ball to his receivers. But then the minute you say that, he'll go and he'll hit 10 in a row.
3rd and 10. Eagles now with 6 defensive backs in the game. Matthews from the shotgun throws underneath. The pass is complete. Still on his feet is Darius Thompson. Does he get the first down? No, he was down. No fumble. It was ruled down. It appears to be a little shy of the first down. Hit by Blaine Bishop.
You know, it's interesting, the Eagles, maybe it's because they have a 14-point lead, but, you know, Jim Johnson is very aggressive and he blitzes a lot, but on these third downs so far, he's been rushing 3 and covering with 8. You watch this, he's just in a 3-man line here. He has a rusher over here, a rusher in the middle, and a rusher from the right, and they kind of did collapse the pocket a little. You see, he almost has a first down right there. Now it's where the ball is because they said it's down, so it's where the ball hits.
They're going to measure.
Yeah, it's where the ball is when the first thing that hits is a ball, so it's right there. It's where the ball is. You know, it's usually you say where the ball is, where his knee went down, where the ball is when his butt went down. That one is where the ball is when the ball went down, which obviously was short.
Well, what's the old ball coach going to do here? 4th and inches.
The old ball coach is going for it. I think in this situation with this much time, I think you punt it. Unless, you know, he could be getting up there to try and draw him off sides, too.
Right, if nothing else. They went for it last week. Of course, it was a game that was very early in the game. They weren't down by 2 touchdowns. They're going to go for it on 4th and inches, and that's a little bit of fun and gun on the ground. Stephen Davis for a first down.
Heck of a call from the old ball coach.
10-yard game. I mean, think about that. If you don't make it, you're giving the ball to a team deep in your own territory, a team you haven't stopped yet.
You know, Chris Samuel's got a heck of a block. Watch him. He's the left tackle right here. Look at that block and drive right there. That's what created the hole. I think he has his right leg all bandaged up. He's kind of playing on one leg, but he got a lot of drive from that.
At the 48-yard line, 1st and 10. Matthews, deep, nobody home. Nobody home.
That's that deep one that he's going to try and throw. We thought Steve Spurrier said, look, it's about time we went for it on 4th down. You know, sometimes you do those things, and I'm sure that's what Steve Spurrier is thinking, to change momentum. That the Eagles have all the momentum, and you have to, you've gotten your crowd out, the Eagles have, so you have to get your crowd back into it, you have to get your team back into it, and you have to get some lift. And I think that going for it on 4th down and getting it gave them the lift. Now they have to take that lift and do something with it.
Huge gamble, huge. And it works. 2nd and 10 from the 48. Screen, and that's incomplete. A lot of traffic there. And Stephen Davis could not bring it in. Matthews has started the game 7 of 14 for only 42 yards, so he's averaging 3 yards per pass attempt.
Yeah, defenses are really playing those screens well. That was Ike Reese. He was out there. And if you're in you like to run a screen against a zone defense where all those linebackers are dropping off. When the linebackers are in man defense, they'll get up on the man that you're throwing the screen to. That's what Ike Reese did on that last play.
Back to the shotgun on 3rd down and 10. Eagles show blitz. They come from the left side, and the pass is picked off. Troy Vincent, hurt last week, didn't play in Tennessee, and Troy Vincent, the 11th-year corner out of Wisconsin, intercepts Matthews.
And one of the better corners in all of football. I mean, he's a tough guy. He's good against the run, and he's also good against the pass. I mean, he can play tight coverage. He can do all these things. You see, he's the outside guy here. And you'll just see that they start in there and they're going to run an in or a slant right there, and he just gets the jump, and they're trying to throw the ball to Rod Gardner, and it looks like Troy Vincent gets back there and he makes a better read on that ball than Gardner did or Matthews did in throwing it to him.
38th interception of his career. So the Redskins can't take advantage of going for it and making it on 4th down. And Cecil Martin, the fullback, out of the backfield, stopped after a minimal gain after he takes in the McNabb toss.
So Troy Vincent said that last week he had to have his knee drained and he couldn't play. I mean, he had so much swelling in that knee. It was just a bruise. But they said then when they drained it on Sunday and then Monday it felt a lot better. And he said by Tuesday he was back to normal. So there never was any doubt this week whether or not Troy Vincent was going to play.
2nd down and 9. With Lewis in motion. McNabb rolling and looking. Looks back the other way. And then finally throws it away into the Redskin bench.
And that was smart by McNabb there because that's that free throwaway you have. And I've seen quarterbacks. In fact, I've seen McNabb get in that same situation and run out of bounds. But here he knows once you get outside that tackle box, if you're here, you can't throw it away. Now, once you get to this point right here, from here on, if you don't have something there to avoid the sack, you can throw it away. That's exactly what he did. Now, if he would have ran out of bounds, he would have lost 7 or 8 yards.
Hank Fraley there, the center, with a pretty good hold on Dan Wilkinson that went undetected. 3rd down and 9 from the 45.
Fraley will do that.
And McNabb will take a timeout as he took a look at the defense. Didn't like what he saw. Timeout, Philadelphia. With a 3rd and 9 upcoming, and the Eagles off to a 2-touchdown lead in Washington.
Football is violent and dangerous for young adults and cubs alike. The feast is a frenetic free-for-all, and the dominant male is...
The meat is mine. Oh, here. Case closed. Oh, no. It's good to have you home, sweetie.
Log on and purchase by September 26th for Southwest Airlines $39 to $99 internet specials, only at southwest.com.
You are now free to move about the country.
Hey, America, I'm the new 99-cent BK value menu. You guys like bacon cheeseburgers?
Sure do.
3 strips of bacon.
3?
Yeah, I'm looking good.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. You guys single?
2 of us 2.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah, you get off on the next floor.
The all-new BK Value Menu speaks for itself. Now, get 11 items for 99 cents every day. And have it your way in more ways.
They say the best things in life are free. Well, right now, every new 2002 Ford comes with no payments till 2003. Every car, truck, and SUV with nothing to pay till next year. Plus, choose interest-free financing or cash back up to $3,500. Hurry, this offer absolutely ends September 30th. So get yourself free. At your local Ford store today.
Touchdown, Miami!
No matter who your favorite team is, call 1-877-NFL-SHOP for your free team catalog.
The Hogs, such as they are.
The Hogettes.
The Hogettes.
And they've been here for a long time. The Hogettes, the Redskin band, and the Redskin fight song, which is one of the great all-time fight songs.
Hail to the Redskins. 3rd down and 9 after the timeout. McNabb under pressure, and down he goes in the grasp of Jackson.
Yeah, I think that's what Marvin Lewis figures that he has to do, because he was saying the other day, he said, we have to get to McNabb. He said, but even more than that, we have to take him to the ground. And they really haven't gotten to McNabb until this play here, and they definitely haven't taken him to the ground. And this is what he was talking about. Don't run beyond him, but if you do, get right back there and take him down. He said that's the toughest thing to do, is get to him and then take him down.
The 40-year-old Sean Landeta. Yep, that same Sean Landeta has been kicking for almost 2 decades, sends it to the 10-yard line, and this is Jaquez Green, who played for Spurrier in Florida, across the 50, inside the 30, and he's going to go all the way for the touchdown to turn the game around with no flags. 53-yard Landeta kick and a 90-yard run back.
Jaquez Green, and that's the thing. You know, there's a lot of ways you can change momentum. You can change it with your offense, you can change it with your defense, and you can change it big time, especially early in the season with special teams. Jaquez Green made some great moves to get to this point. Now, once he gets here, he has the outside. Sean Landeta is the closest guy to him. No one is going to catch Jaquez Green. There's Daniel Snyder. Now that's what I paid that money for.
Extra point by Tuthill, the new kicker, is good. Conway hurt last week, and they signed James Tuthill. Second longest punt return in Redskin history to make it 14-7.
Raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. Bright copper kettle
pillows and warm woolen mixes. Silver white bleachers that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. These are a few of my favorite things.
Her loss made her a rebel.
I had a family.
Only one man can make her a hero. Antonio Banderas, Lucy Liu, Ballistic X vs. Sarah. Rated R. Starts this Friday.
Ford trucks are driven hard every day. And built Ford tough means power. Power to take whatever you can dish out. It's made us the truck leader in this country. Our trucks are built to work, and low-end torque is where the work is done. And so when you hit the accelerator, we have great low-end torque. You can't fake it. Power is something that we're going to hang our hat on. We're going to be known for it.
Taste buds, two kinds. The little yes man sitting at the tip of your tongue sipping New Age mango-flavored tap water, and the boys in the back of the class getting all the glory. So for them, there's new Red Fusion from Dr. Pepper. Red Fusion, who's your soda?
Damon Wayans stars in the comedy event of the summer.
No!
Yes, a 2-hour comedy event of My Wife and Kids, Wednesday on ABC.
Tune in tomorrow night. Good show. John Ritter and Katie Segal are married with kids in the new comedy, 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. You'll see it tomorrow at 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central and Mountain right here. And Jaquez Green, the former Gator, with a 90-yard run back to make it 14-7. The second punt return touchdown of his career. 5th year in the league, the first 4 at Tampa Bay. Kick to the 3-yard line. Damian Douglas brings it back up to the 25-yard line. Mentioned that's the second longest punt return in Redskin history. 96 yards by Bill Dudley in 1950 against the Steelers. The longest, so the longest for a Washington Redskin, John, in 52 years.
So we're here for some history, huh?
A little bit of history.
And Jaquez Green provided it, and he's one of Steve Spurrier's guys, and you know, this is what you're talking about here.
Florida and Florida State are represented by more players than any school in the league right now. Look at that. It's very close. Michigan is right there. Notre Dame is right there. But look at Washington. They have a player from each of those schools except, you guessed it, Florida State. No Seminoles on the Redskin roster. At the 30-yard line, the catch is made by Brian Westbrook, the rookie out of Villanova, who grew up in this area, then went to school in Philadelphia and stays at home as an Eagle for a first down.
You know, Al, I think something's wrong with Donovan McNabb's either hand or arm or shoulder, because you watch him here, and after he throws that ball, he kind of picks his hand, and then here it looks like it could be his shoulder. And he's been doing that after a number of plays. Even that last play there. You see how he kind of throws and bends over? There's something in him that's not working properly.
No doubt, and it happened tonight. There's nothing that we know of coming into the game. He throws here, and the pass is almost one-handed by Antonio Freeman, who is blanketed on the play. Champ Bailey was right there.
That's a great matchup there. Antonio Freeman, one of the very good wide receivers. Antonio Freeman doesn't look like the same guy he was at Green Bay. He's lost about 10 pounds. I think he wanted to get a little more speed to get away from guys and get a little separation more than take those big hits. And Andy Reid was saying last night he thinks that Antonio Freeman's his best receiver right now.
Mike Sherman wanted to keep him, but he said he knew he couldn't come back and take a big pay cut. Handoff here to Brian Westbrook, the Villanovan, who takes it up to the 46. It's a gain of 2. Stopped by the ex-Giant, Jesse Armstead. So their linebackers are the former Giant Armstead, the former Eagle Trotter, and the emerging star Arrington. Good threesome.
Yeah, and they can be a good threesome. I know that Andy Reid felt that he wanted to test their discipline tonight because, you know, in this defense, and again, the way you test the discipline is, do they take the gaps when the ball goes away from you? So some of his stuff that he's been doing with Donovan McNabb is to test the discipline of the Redskin linebacker.
3rd down and 8. McNabb guns it over the middle, and he looks for the big man over the middle for a first down inside the 45. That's Antonio Freeman.
Well, I'll tell you, Trey Thomas did a job over there on that side. On the left tackle, we're not going to see the left tackle right now. We're going to see the play here, but Trey Thomas right up there on top just puts his man on the ground, and it's blocks like that that lets the quarterback step up to make throws like that.
Freeman's now caught 3 for 35 yards. 3 receivers set to the left. And coming on an end around is Brian Westbrook, and the rookie takes it to the 32-yard line. As we check in with Melissa, an update on McNabb. What do you know, Melissa?
Well, just to follow up on what John was saying, I went and asked the trainers if there was anything wrong. They said there's absolutely nothing wrong. He's fine, even though our pictures may say otherwise. I'll keep an eye on it.
Absolutely. As the daughter of a doctor, I know you will.
I think that Brian Westbrook is something that the Eagles have big plans for this year. I mean, he's been a pleasant guy for them in training camp.
Now there's Deuce Staley. Well, it's a 3-headed running back alignment right now. What they really wanted was Correll Buckhalter to be their base back this year, but he tore his knee up during the offseason in minicamp, so you've got to go with Staley, and they brought in Levins from Green Bay and then drafted Westbrook.
And that's what they do. Deuce Staley is the base or the first down guy, and then Dorsey Levins comes in when they go 3 wide receivers. Then Brian Westbrook comes in when they go 4 wide receivers, or some special plays like we just saw with him, that end around, which was also 4 wide receivers.
2nd and 2, fake it to Staley. McNabb with a ton of time, then throws over the middle, and wide open was Thomason, who caught the earlier touchdown pass, and that's a first down, and it's a 1st and goal. Trotter and Arrington converge on the tackle.
And the big thing, Al, that you said was a ton of time. I mean, that's the thing. The Eagles are just too quick for this Washington Redskin defense, especially the front 4. They really can't get to McNabb, and then they don't have the speed when he starts to run away. And look at the time. Look at this pocket here. I mean, he's right there. He can look and look, and then not only does he have a lane to look in, but then he has that same lane that he's looking in to throw in. I still think there's something wrong with him. I know they say there's not, but he keeps grabbing something.
Those pictures don't lie. Fake toss, and then the pass is a little bit low, and it's incomplete. The official right there to say no, sir, to Chad Lewis. 2nd and goal. Well, McNabb, bad hand or wrist or shoulder, whatever it is still 15 out of 19 for 171 yards.
Yeah, and he's doing everything that McNabb does, and he's doing it very well, and he's calmed down. I mean, you can just see that he's bringing, that calmness that a quarterback has to, to the field, to the huddle, and obviously to his teammates.
2nd and goal at the 9-yard line. Armstead showing blitz, and then he winds up staying back and making the tackle on McNabb, who takes it through the middle himself. 3rd and goal.
I think that's the thing. When you play, usually you get inside the 20-yard line or in the red zone, and you're playing a form of man-to-man defense. And when you play man-to-man defense, there's no one for the quarterback. No one takes a quarterback. So if you have a quarterback that can run, that's the best time to run him, is in this situation where they got everyone covered, but they don't have a man for the quarterback. Then you got to go to the spot.
Big stop here for Washington, and it's a little dump off shovel pass, and that's a forward pass, which I believe nobody had possession of. Andy Reid is saying incomplete, not a fumble. LeVar Arrington picked up the loose ball.
Yeah, because it was a shovel pass and because it was forward, that's just an incomplete forward pass.
Right.
If that were a lateral, then it could be a fumble.
Or a shovel pass in which the recipient has possession, which he never did.
And you're going to see right here, that's just an incomplete pass because he never had control of it.
The play Lee Gross Cup made so famous at Utah all those years ago, John.
The old shovel pass.
The shovel pass. Some people call it the shuffle pass, but it's the shovel pass.
Both these teams, I saw the Redskins working a lot on the shovel pass too, and so this is This division has a lot of shovel passes.
Chip shot 22-yarder for Akers, and that one is just barely good. Just inside the right upright. So Washington with a very key stop to limit them to 3, and the Philly lead is 10.
They say the best things in life are free. Well, right now, every new 2002 Ford comes with no payments till 2003. Every car, truck, and SUV with nothing to pay till next year. Plus, choose interest-free financing or cash back up to $3,500. Hurry, this offer absolutely ends September 30th. So get yourself free at your local Ford store today.
What's up? Forgot my due.
Morning, William.
CJ. How you doing? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Looks like somebody got a haircut.
Too short?
They're always glad you came.
Yeah. Hey, no, you can't drive the truck.
See you tomorrow, Bobby.
Can you come in and play?
Who can you count on? You know them by name.
Which show did Entertainment Weekly call the season's best new comedy?
What? What's going on?
It's a special preview of Life with Bonnie tomorrow at 8:30, 7:30 Central on ABC.
This weekend, Tiger Woods is in action in Ireland. Ernie Els, Sergio Garcia, Phil Mickelson also competing. The World Golf Championships, the American Express Championship. Coverage this weekend right here on ABC Sports. 17-7 Philadelphia. Kenny Watson and Darius Thompson are back to receive the Akers kick. Taken at the 2-yard line. This is Thompson. Up to the 22-yard line. Now the Redskins will try to get on track. Thus far tonight, they've gained only 59 yards with 6.5 to go in the opening half. Of course, Spurrier known for what he did at the University of Florida over a dozen seasons with championship after championship in the SEC. And you can take a look, 35 points scored per game at Florida. The Redskins here in week 1, 31, 310 passing per game at Florida. But tonight, total offensive production, 3 yards per play. And this is Stephen Davis, and he picks up about 3 yards.
You know, it's something that, you know, people think of Steve Spurrier as a college coach, and I think a lot of times you forget that he was in the NFL, that he played in the NFL for 10 years. He was a quarterback, called his own plays. So, you know, he was from an era where the quarterback calls his own plays. So he called his own plays in high school. He called his own plays in college. He called his own plays in the pros. So he's been doing that, and I think the offense that he brought to Florida was a pro offense. And I think he's a pro coach coming back into pro football more than he's a college coach.
And he brings Champ Bailey, the defensive back, into the offensive set, something that has happened here in the past. And a little toss to Champ. Up to the 31, he loses the ball. The Eagles are contending that they have it. And we're waiting for a signal from the officials. If the whistle blew, the play was over. If it didn't blow, Brandon Whiting's going to have the fumble recovery. But again, we have a situation where we had no call on the field, and Bob McElwee moderates this conference.
The first thing they ought to do is get all the players away from him. And I know what Steve Spurrier is thinking now, that that's the problem you have when you put a defensive player that doesn't practice with your offense in on offense. And that's, you know, a lot of times, you know, Deion Sanders did some of that and some of these defensive backs, but they have to practice with the defense. They go to the defensive meetings, and they don't practice handoffs and carrying the ball and these types of things. Then you put them in the game, and stuff happens. I think this is the second time tonight that we've had a situation where maybe they don't know what happened.
Well, Andy Reid is ready to challenge if the call goes against him here. The question is, did the whistle blow? If the whistle blew, the play is over, but apparently it did not. We have to assume it did not. Here it is again. For starters, we'll take a look and see if Bailey fumbles.
Well, you see the ball come out, but again, it's it's at what point it came out.
And they are going to rule.
Well, the Eagles offense is out in the field, and there's no one out there for the Redskins. There's no defense or offense out there.
Right, the offense came back over for the moment.
Washington is challenging the ruling on the field that it is a fumble.
All right, so now for starters, there was no signal on the field, but they have, after conferring, agreed that it was a fumble, a recovery by Philadelphia, and now Spurrier is going to challenge and say that he was down.
So now again, you see the ball, it's out there, but it's did any part of his body touch down before that ball came out? And it can be anything. It can be an ankle, it can be a foot, it can be a knee. Is anything down? Well, you see his knee is not down yet. There is the first time he hits. Now you don't know when the ball came out, though.
Right.
You saw, I think the first thing that hit was his thigh. So you have to go, was his thigh down before the ball came out?
And now what the officials have to see, or Bob McElwee specifically, since he'll go into the hood, is enough evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was a fumble.
And I don't think there's enough evidence there, because you don't see the two things happening. I mean, you have to see the body part that touches the ground and the ball at the same time.
All right, let's go to audio and video here. Audio too, so we can see if, or listen to hear any whistle. No whistle.
Now, I don't think the whistle comes into play there, but I don't know when they decided that that was a fumble. But then somewhere in the talk they had to say, is it a fumble or not, and then they decided it was a fumble. So now you go to review to see if he was down before he fumbled.
Well, I haven't seen anything conclusive yet to overturn what the call on the field would be.
Well, see, I mean, you can see there when he hits down, but when you see when he hits down, you don't see where the ball is. You can see when it comes out. I would say that he can't overturn this.
I agree. There's not enough evidence. You need, the old phrase is indisputable visual evidence.
But I think that's the best way to do it. I mean, I think, the way they have this system of instant replay now, I think you just start calling everything a fumble, and then at least you can review it.
Well,
it's not a fumble, then you can't.
One of the things they're doing this year, John, is they're telling the officials to hesitate a moment before they blow the whistle, because if you have a quick whistle, if the whistle had sounded when he hit the ground, it could have been reviewed.
It is a fumble. First down, Philadelphia. Washington will be charged with a timeout.
See, there was a quick whistle in the Ram-Giant game yesterday on what would have been that Kerry Collins fumble.
Right.
And that meant, they couldn't overturn the call.
So this one, we had just the opposite. I don't think we had any whistle, nor do I think we had any call immediately.
No whistle, no call.
Decided to wait to put it instant replay is by saying it's a fumble, and then you can go look at it, and then they decided that it's still a fumble.
Well, the bottom line is Philadelphia takes over at the 30-yard line. So in a game in which Philadelphia played a perfect first quarter, Washington gets back into the game on the green punt return. Then Philly marches down for a field goal. Here is a big Washington turnover with 5.5 to go in the half.
And Steve Spurrier is frustrated, and his offense has been frustrated this first half by, I think, more by the Eagle offense than the Eagle defense.
From the 30-yard line, McNabb having a great night thus far. Packs it in. Takes it to the 26-yard line. Hit first by Trotter and then finished off by Arrington.
And the impressive thing about Donovan McNabb, he's thrown to 8 different receivers. So it's not like he has a go-to guy or he's just going to look at one guy. He's going to move that ball around. Watch Jeremiah Trotter. He's right there. Now they said, we've had enough of this. We're going to spy McNabb when he starts to run, we're going to put Trotter on him. Now you have to be able to catch him, and then when you catch him, you have to be able to tackle him.
2nd down and 6 from the 26-yard line. McNabb throws, slant, caught. That's Todd Pinkston making the catch, about 1.5 yards shy of the first down. If you're going to spy on McNabb, who better to than Trotter? I mean, Trotter played against him in practice for 3 years.
Yeah, but I don't know that Trotter can always catch him. That's the thing. I mean, McNabb is faster. I would think if you're going to have a spy with your linebackers that can catch him, it would have to be Arrington. But then you don't want to waste Arrington on just spying, because if he passes the ball the way he's been passing, then you just have that guy who would be a spy if he runs, just in no man's land if he throws.
That's the dilemma. 3rd and 2, another key stop upcoming for the Redskins, trying to limit them to, at worst, a field goal attempt. 3rd and 2, McNabb to the end zone, and the pass is incomplete, a little too long for Antonio Freeman.
One of the things that Marvin Lewis was talking about is he didn't want his defensive ends running around beyond McNabb, and that's exactly what Bruce Smith did on that last play, and he almost got back, though. I mean, he ran him by, and then he almost got back. That's a good matchup over there, Trey Thomas for the Eagles against Bruce Smith.
Now Akers, who just barely made that 22-yarder, hooked it and it just got inside the right upright. This is a 40-yard attempt. And that looks more like the Akers that the Eagles have come to know and love, one of the very best in the league. 3:54 remaining. So after the turnover, as you look at Bruce Smith, Philadelphia leads 20-7.
The Model T was the high watermark of affordable transportation. Fast forward 100 years, that's where the Focus comes in. By its very stance, it screams, drive me. It's a tremendously successful marriage of technology and passion. You get into it, you turn up the sound system, hit the accelerator, and just go. People just want to feel great in their cars. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
I'm looking at your portfolio right now. You gotta buy.
Yes, time for picking, time for buying.
Do a super strong buy. I think you should buy.
I think you should buy it.
It's a buy.
Buy it. Just buy.
It's a no-brainer. I'd sell.
Did I say sell?
No, I meant buy, yes!
There's never been a better time for Schwab Equity Ratings, a way to help you decide what to sell as well as buy. A through F ratings on 3,000 stocks, not influenced by investment banking. To learn more, call 1-800-9-SCHWAB.
I love playing two-hand touch, eating way too much, watching my team win with the Twins. I love quarterbacks eating dirt, pom-poms and short skirts, fans who won't quit, and those Twins. And I love them too. Here's the football.
What is the secret of Push Nevada?
I aim to get to the bottom of it all.
The adventure begins with a special preview tomorrow at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Our college football lineup this Saturday at 3:30 Eastern and 12:30 Pacific features Notre Dame, the unbeaten Irish at 3-0, taking on Michigan State. There are the other regional games coming your way this Saturday right here on ABC Sports. Akers to kick, 5-yard line. Darius Thompson to run it back. Back up to the 28 and a flag down at the end of the play. Bob McElwee, who has refereed 2 Super Bowls in his long career.
Holding number 25 of the receiving team during the return. 10 yards.
Rashad Bauman. Monday Night Football from the nation's capital, brought to you by Coors Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Cold down easy. Ford, no boundaries. Burger King, say hello to the new 99-cent BK value menu. And Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 37. That's a place the Eagles are expected by a lot of people to show up at. They lead here by 13, and Matthews is going to take off with everybody covered, and he runs out of bounds up at about the 21-yard line. Take a look at the quarterbacks this far in the game. McNabb tremendous first quarter, 11 of 12, and they were his figures, and he's thrown for more than 4 times the yardage of Shane Matthews.
And then Shane Matthews only 42 yards, and he has a 25 rating quarterback rating, and that's not what we were expecting to see. I mean, this whole Steve Spurrier thing and Shane Matthews in Florida, we're not seeing what we were expecting to.
Here's Stephen Davis. Well, John, the big question is, I mean, among other things, Shane Matthews has been in the league for about a decade, even though he has played so sparingly. He was a backup the last couple of seasons at Chicago, saw some action. He and Danny Werfel came in, and Sage Rosenfels, and everybody was surprised that, you know, Washington didn't go out and at least try to get a free agent or somebody a little bit bigger than any of these guys.
Yeah, well, and, you know, when you asked Steve Spurrier that, he said, look, he said, I didn't get rid of any quarterbacks here. He said, I didn't have any. And he said, and these guys were just cheap and available.
Right.
And that's what I got, 2 guys that were cheap and available. You wouldn't want that as a nickname.
From the 23, the catch is made by Rod Gardner for a first down up at the 35-yard line.
I think Steve Spurrier kind of believes, too, that with his offense, and he says all I know about these guys is what they did when they played for me at Florida, and they know his offense, and he'd rather have someone that he knows and that knows him, I think, than just go out and just grab someone off the tree that he doesn't believe can play.
You saw the number 3 quarterback, Patrick Ramsey, the rookie out of Tulane, without a huddle. The Redskins here from the 35-yard line. And that is dropped. Pass is right there, and Darius Thompson dropped it. Thinking about that, you see scouting reports on quarterback, nimble feet, good thinker, great arm, and then there's cheap and available, right?
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, with the salary cap and all this salary stuff. I think you probably have, you know, expensive and good, you know, pretty good, and, you know, pretty much you have to pay, and then you got cheap and available. I'll take 2 of those. Give me 2 cheap, 2 available, and we'll go from there.
So in a fantasy league, what is he worth? A nickel?
I think in a fantasy league, you let someone else have him.
Second down and 10 from the 35-yard line. And Matthews slides to a stop up at the 43. There's contact made, but no flag. Bobby Taylor went down, and that was right on the margin. In the meantime, there's an eagle hurt back at the 25-yard line, and that's Darwin Walker, who, of course, is the guy who has supplanted Hollis Thomas, who's out for the season, as we come to the 2-minute warning.
Lowe's is rolling out the red carpet, and textured, and Berber. Over 7,000 colors and styles of carpet, and every kind of flooring you could possibly want. We'll measure, move your furniture, and install, guaranteed. We'll even haul away your old carpet. And no one ever beats Lowe's prices, because Lowe's has low prices every day, guaranteed. That's our promise. Lowe's, improving home improvement.
Use your Lowe's card. There are 0 payments, 0 finance charges for 6 months.
This is Dan. This is the joint that Dan bought. This is the dealer who sold the joint that Dan bought. This is the smuggler that smuggled the pot to the dealer who sold the joint that Dan bought. This is the cartel that uses the smuggler that smuggled the pot to the dealer who sold the joint that Dan bought. And this is the family that was lined up by Dan's cartel and shot for getting in the way.
Breaking news from Midas, America's trusted leader in brakes. Right now, get guaranteed lifetime brake pads or shoes for just $39.95 at Midas, and you'll never have to buy brakes again for as long as you own your car. So how do you find the time to repair your brakes without stopping your life? The answer is Midas, for fast, reliable brake service. Hurry into Midas today for lifetime brakes, guaranteed. Next stop, Midas. Lifetime brakes, $39.95, only at Midas.
Raising teens is tough.
Why are you dressed like that?
Must be casual sex day at school.
8 simple rules for dating my teenage daughter. Tomorrow at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Lexus halftime show, 7 nights to Monday. LeVar Arrington will take a look at what he has done in the week leading up to his appearance tonight on Monday Night Football. We'll take you from last Monday right through tonight, coming up on the Lexus halftime show. Walker comes off. Grasmanis takes over for him at the defensive tackle spot, and Matthews now hits Stephen Davis for a short gain over the middle at the 43-yard line. Flag is down. There's a flag down, and also they're saying the ball carrier was down up at the 45-yard line, so a lot going on here.
It's going to be a roughing the passer. I think Shane Matthews got hit after he threw the ball, and that referee Bob McElwee, I know that's what he called.
McElwee called that. In the meantime, I think they're saying down by contact.
Was stopped. There is no fumble. The roughing the passer by 53 defense will be enforced from the end of the play. 15 yards, first down.
That's Hugh Douglas.
Remember, Hugh Douglas is the guy that put Matthews in Chicago after he hurt, remember Miller in that play?
Sure.
And he goes here. Oh, I don't know about that. I mean, the ball is out. I mean, he's trying to hold him up, but it's still, I mean, one place, I mean, the ball was gone and he did hit him, but that wasn't the type of thing where he was, trying to take a cheap shot or anything.
I agree with you. That was the Eagles' first penalty of the night, and now Matthews really gets clocked, and the pass is incomplete, and that was Brian Dawkins on a safety blitz.
And Brian Dawkins is a guy that can bring it. I mean, Brian Dawkins is probably the best free safety in all of football, and he's good when he's back. He's good. He's up when he's as the eighth man, and he's also very good at this. I mean, he's a heck of a blitzer. You're going to see him coming here. He's disguising it, holding it, and you'll see him come into the picture right there. And whew, did he unload on Shane Matthews?
Philadelphia is going to take a timeout. Washington has now run 29 plays. This is the first time tonight they've crossed midfield, a minute 40 to the half.
America is traveling with Michelin. Right now, buy any 4 Michelin tires and get a Samsonite wheeled carry-on upright and the new Michelin North America Road Atlas free, a value of over $120. Just call 1-888-MICHELIN for your nearest participating Michelin dealer and get rolling. But hurry, this offer ends October 5th.
Can't we all just get along? Birdman, the Hogs.
Remember the real Hogs that Joe Gibbs coached?
Sure.
The offensive line, John Riggins.
Yep.
Boy, those were fun days here in Washington.
So Russ Grimm last week, assistant coach now at Pittsburgh, 2nd down and 10. This is Kevin Lockett making the catch, taking it to the 35. Each team with 1 timeout remaining as the clock ticks down under a minute and a half.
This is one of the things when I was looking at this Washington offense and thinking, what do they do that they do in college? And it's those wide receiver screens, but those were brought into the NFL, 4 or 5 years ago with the Chicago Bears, and now everyone in the NFL is running what we just saw there, a wide receiver screen.
3rd down 5, out of the gun. Eagles blitz, pass is incomplete. Good coverage over the middle as Brian Dawkins was right there, draping himself over Chris Doran. So now 4th down and 5. And you're looking at, well, if you're going to try to kick a field goal, it'll be a 52-yarder by a guy just called back up, in effect. Tuthill had been with them in training camp. They lost Conway last week, so they're going to go for it on 4th and 5 from the 35.
Yeah, shotgun, and they have 5 receivers, 3 on the right side, 2 on the left side.
And his movement up front. So that's going to make it 4th down and 10 as David Laverne got up and out of his stance.
4th offense, 5 yards.
And that probably takes them out of a situation where they can go for it on 4th down. Takes them out of a situation where they can try a field goal and could put them in a punt situation. Although I think Steve Spurrier is saying, look, it's 4th down and we were going to go for it 4th and 5. We're still going to go for it.
When it comes to convention, forget about it with him.
He has his plays written. A lot of them they're done by computer and they have all this fancy stuff. And look at Steve Spurrier. He just writes down the ball plays on a piece of paper. He has some red pencils and some yellow, some blue.
So just get it away. If it's incomplete, the Eagles would have the ball at the 40-yard line. And it is almost intercepted. Rod Gardner the intended receiver, and Al Harris was back there covering on the underthrown pass. And now Philly gets the ball at the 40-yard line with 1 timeout left.
See this, he gets hit. He got hit by Darwin Walker, and that just took enough off it that there was no chance for that ball to get out there to Gardner. Although, watch him get hit right there. That was just enough to take anything that he could have. If he could have gotten it out in front to let Rod Gardner run under it, maybe if he would have had about another 5 yards. But that took those 5 yards out and made this. Although if he had another 5 yards, there was another defender there too.
And that was the same Darwin Walker who was writhing on the ground at the 2-minute warning. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. 56 ticks, 1 timeout. McNabb surveying, throws underneath. Deuce Staley with a spin move, taken down finally at the 45-yard line. Donovan, no huddle.
I saw Deuce Staley play one of the great games that I've ever seen a running back play, an opener against Dallas in that pickle juice game 2 years ago.
2nd down and 5. Hot day in Texas it was. Thrash makes the catch, pulls it in. That's a 1st down at the 44. Now McNabb is going to spike the ball, but they're taking a long time to get up to the line of scrimmage. And there are under 20 seconds. The clock stopping at 18 seconds with 1 timeout.
Steve Spurrier is saying this first half has been a tough first half, and as a coach and a play caller, you're always thinking ahead. So you can't think about, what happened that first half. You have to think, okay, this is what they did in the first half. Now, what are we going to do in the second half? And of course, Andy Reid's thinking the same thing, because he knows last week against Tennessee, he had a 14-point lead, and they blew the lead, blew the game, and lost. And there's no way that's going to happen to him tonight.
Trying to get at least into field goal range for their ace, Akers. McNabb out of the pocket, then throws, and that pass is incomplete along the sideline. Todd Pinkston. So it's 3rd down, 12 seconds left, 1 timeout left, and they need more yardage before they can bring Akers in.
Look at Donovan McNabb and what he's done in the pocket. In the pocket, 16 out of 21 for 171 yards and a touchdown. And then when he's got out of the pocket, he's 2 for 4 and 20 yards. So you think that he's run a lot, and of course there are some running plays where he doesn't throw, but he's really been a pocket passer for the most part. A lot of P's in there. Pocket passer for the most part.
Need about 15 to make them comfortable with Akers. And on 3rd and 10, that's about what they're going to get to the 30-yard line as Chad Lewis makes the catch. Clock stops, timeout, 14-yard gain, setting up about a 47-yard field goal attempt.
All the talk about Steve Spurrier and calling plays. Andy Reid calls plays himself, and he's a pretty good play caller and a good coach. Look at Chad Lewis here. You just see he's, again, just working the middle. I mean, you just put your tight end down in the middle of the field, and then that's a progression. He's probably your second progression. You read from the outside and come back in. They've had success with Chad Lewis in the middle. Then they go 3 wide receivers, and in this first half they've had a lot of success putting Antonio Freeman in the middle.
Maybe Steve will go to the visor in the second half.
Hey, he's going to have to draw up some more ball plays.
Yes, he will.
And that's exactly what he'll do. But he hasn't had great field position. He hasn't had the ball a lot, and he hasn't been able to get a lot of first downs. And there's a lot of have-tos that he has to do.
A lot of them on defense. 47-yard attempt off the foot of Akers is good. So that big pass play on 3rd down when they needed about 15 and got 14 sets Akers up for the 3-pointer here. And we go to the half with the Philadelphia Eagles leading the Washington Redskins 23-7. Let's check in with Melissa.
Well, Andy, every time Donovan McNabb seems to be throwing the ball, he's grabbing his right hand. Is there anything wrong with him?
I think he's all right. We'll find out here at halftime, but I think he's fine.
All right, last week, in the loss to the Titans, you gave up a 14-point halftime lead. How do you avoid that tonight?
I can't believe you asked me that, Melissa. We got to stick to it, huh? We got to come out with a little guns going and play some football here.
You learned your lesson last week. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, well, Andy doesn't want to be reminded about last week, but it's a fact. They gave up a 14-point lead. Coming up next, the Toyota halftime show. Look at LeVar Arrington. John and I will talk about the passing frenzy after this message and word from our ABC stations. And back we come to FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland. Al Michaels, John Madden, and Melissa Stark. First half dominated by Philadelphia, and they get the ball as we start the third quarter. Brian Mitchell back to take the kickoff. James Tuthill descended skyward. Eagles up by 16 as we wrap up week 2 of the 2002 season. To the goal line to Mitchell. More combined yardage than anybody in history, and he gets met head on, shoulder first, and taken down by Rock Cartwright, or Rock tackle. Let's check in with Melissa.
Al, Shane Matthews passed for just 62 yards in the first half. He will not start the second half. It's not performance-based, though. I just talked to Steve Spurrier. Apparently, he banged up his left shoulder in the final drive of the second quarter. Danny Warfel starts the second half.
So Warfel warming up.
It's this play right here, Al. When you remember Brian Dawkins comes from the blitz just before the half, and he hits Shane Matthews there. Watch him as he rolls over there. He grabs that left shoulder. He grabs the left arm. That's the way you grab the shoulder.
McNabb begins this period with a pass. There's a flag thrown on the play. Brian Westbrook makes the catch, and Bob McElway has an immediate call here.
Illegal formation, offense. Number 72 was lined up on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Trey Thomas, the Pro Bowl tackle.
They got to start calling that on the wide receiver, not the tackle.
More than double the yardage for Philadelphia through the air. About 3 times the yardage. Washington turning the ball over twice. Big half from McNabb. Not much of a running game, but they haven't needed one.
He's trying to get some protection here. He's bringing his wide receivers in tighter.
First and 15 from the 17. Pump fake, avoids the sack, and then the pass is taken in by Thrash, who hauls the ball in at the 34-yard line. That was Fred Smoot, who went flying by McNabb. 17-yard gain in the first down.
That was a heck of a pass pattern by Thrash there, getting open and then catching the ball and then staying in bounds. Watch Thrash here. He's going to come up and then he's going to work to the outside. He's right here. And you see him now, he has to come under control to get both those feet down. Watch how the ball is thrown perfectly that allows him to do that. Get the left and then get the right down.
From the 34 now. Deuce Staley on a screen, and he takes it out to the 44-yard line, and they're beginning the second half much in the same manner as the first.
Yeah, we were talking at halftime about everyone throwing the ball, and one thing that Andy Reid does is he'll throw a lot of those short passes and those screens and shovel passes and those types of things, and he counts those as runs. I mean, those are his passes in lieu of runs, so when you add them up, it's going to look like he has a lot more passes, but to him, those are his runs.
West Coast?
Well, that's West Coast. That's Andy Reid, and I think another thing, it's his personnel. I mean, he doesn't have, you know, a big back that you can bang in there 25 or 30 times a game.
Just enough. First down. Ty goes to the runner.
Look at Andy Reid, the way he holds that card over the mic. He said he's the guy that invented that, and it wasn't for secrecy. He said the reason he did that, he calls a play with that play card up over the mic, is so that the sound doesn't go out. He said it was getting too muffled, so he did that to keep the sound in, if that makes any sense.
At Green Bay, Bruce Smith was shaken up on the last play, so he needs a breather from the 44. This is Dorsey Levens, speaking of Green Bay. You know, we were talking to Reid last night. Andy and his wife Tanya have 5 children, and they were born in 5 different states. It took him about 60 seconds to come up with the states last night.
Well, he missed a state. He had 5 kids in 6 states, and then he got 6 kids in 5 states, then he had 5 kids in 4 states, and he didn't remember which state he didn't have a kid in, but I think when he finished, he finally got it all right, didn't he?
He did it, and he said, well, Arizona, no. He said, I really had to concentrate on my job that year. He was an assistant one season at Northern Arizona University, but 5 kids born in 5 states. 2nd and 3 from the 49-yard line as McNabb throws, and it is deflected incomplete. And every time I see a coach like that, John, I think of the wife calling the gas company, calling the electric company, getting the phones started, looking for the pediatrician, getting the schools all set.
I'll tell you, one of the times that, you talk about coaches, Mike Holmgren hired Andy Reid, and at the same time he hired Steve Mariucci. And they were there. They got into Green Bay at the same time. They were staying in a motel. In the middle of the night, there was a fire alarm, and they had to leave the room. And both Andy Reid and Steve Mariucci first met each other in the lobby of a hotel in their underwear.
3rd down and 3 from the 50. And that is knocked down. So McNabb has 2 of them knocked down, this time by Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson.
And I think Big Daddy knocked the other one down, too. I think Big Daddy knocked both of them down. And that's the old thing. Watch Big Daddy right here, Wilkinson. If you get up and you try and push, and then when he starts to throw, you just stop and you just get your hand up in the lane. And that's exactly what Wilkinson did here. See, he gets a push. He's watching McNabb all the way, and then he takes that lane away, takes that passing lane away by putting his left hand in it.
Now Landeta, whose first punt was returned 90 yards by Jaquez Green. And this time, well, he could have returned that one 89, but he opts for a fair catch at the 11. There's Big Daddy at 6'5", knocking down a couple. Philadelphia up by 16.
For some football!
To Tampa we go next Monday. John Gruden and the Buccaneers 1-1 after their win yesterday over the Ravens against the 0-2 Rams. Bengals-Falcons is the ESPN matchup on Sunday night. And here, Danny Werfel won the Heisman 6 years ago at Florida. Takes over for the injured Matthews and sets up a screen with an immediate flag. Stephen Davis up to the 29, but when the umpire throws the flag, what do you guess the call is going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be holding in the offensive line. The umpire is the guy right behind the defensive line that is just watching those offensive linemen. And as you say, when the flag comes out of that area.
Holding, number 50, offense. Half the distance to the goal line, first down.
Larry Moore, the center.
Yep, and you're going to see the umpire. Here's the center right here, Larry Moore. You can see we got the umpire cam on him, so what we just saw there is the same thing that his head and eyes were seeing. It's that left hand right there. He started with the left hand, and then he tried to throw him by with the right so that he could get out in front of the screen.
Got Corey Simon down, and now Davis tries to give them some breathing space, and does with some good, hard running, 11 yards up to the 16th for Stephen Davis. Star track for the Redskins in the first half, and it was Matthews who started and now is out. And again, averaging less than 3 yards per pass. The running game really no factor. Gardner caught 2.
And I think a lot of that had to do with the Philadelphia offense. I mean, they were controlling the ball. They had the ball. Donovan McNabb played great in that first half and didn't give the Redskins a lot of chances.
They spread it out on 2nd down and 4 with the empty backfield, and Werfel guns it over the middle and is lucky that one wasn't picked off by Bobby Taylor.
They have a heck of a double team on Darwin Walker. He was going to hit the gap. He hit the gap, and they just lifted him right up. Here's Bobby Taylor here. Again, one of the good tight cover guys playing underneath. Now, he can do that, and he can jump or undercut a pass reception because he has help deep. But watch that double. That's a double. When you get a guy and both of his feet are on the ground, he has what you call no traction. Then you see what he tried to do with that foot that was on the ground, that wasn't on the ground.
Full liftoff. 3rd down and 4. Werfel under pressure. Got him by the shirt, and down he goes amongst a trio of Eagles led by N.D. Kalu. Darwin Walker there as well.
Yeah, and that's the area, and that's the thing that Steve Spurrier has to worry about is he has 2 good tackles here, but this middle here is not very strong, and they get pushed a lot. And they get, when you get pushed over your guards and your center, that pressure comes right up the middle, right in your quarterback's face. On all my years of coaching,
wow,
I've never done that, nor have I seen that.
That looks like a cartoon. That's in slow motion, too. I can't believe that shot. And here's the punt that bounces at the 40 and is out of bounds at the 44 by Brian Barker. So Philadelphia has it at the 44. That was an that in regular speed would have been incredible.
How do you do that?
I don't know how you do that.
Why do you do that?
That's a new primetime show. Add that to the lineup. TV's hottest new drama. It's stylish, it's provocative, it's mysterious, it's daring. Premiere of Push, Nevada. Season preview tomorrow at 9 Eastern and Pacific, 8 Central and Mountain, right here on ABC. McNabb now from the 45, hitting Todd Pinkston, who picks up about 5.
Here we're talking about Donovan McNabb and how he did it all. Here's the things that he did. One is stand back there in the pocket, throw the ball here to James Thrash, and then he runs for the touchdown. So that's one thing, stay in the pocket and run, and then run a little and throw a touchdown. So, I mean, he does it all. He can run it, he can throw it, he can run it and throw it, and you always have to account for him. Then you start accounting for him, then you leave other guys open.
2nd and 4 now from the 39-yard line. McNabb in the pocket, guns one deep, caught, touchdown, James Thrash. Flag down, back at the 50-yard line, personal foul against Washington. It's a touchdown.
That was a heck of a throw by Donovan McNabb. A heck of a pattern by Thrash.
Personal foul is on Champ Bailey on the corner blitz.
And just watch that the shot that Donovan McNabb takes here, or Champ Bailey takes on Donovan McNabb. Here's Thrash right here, and he was in the slot, and he just runs straight down the middle. That's a matchup that they're looking for. You get your wide receiver on their strong safety, and that's David Terrell, and he just runs right by him. That's the second big play that James Thrash has had today in the slot.
Akers now for the point after. And McNabb with his second TD pass of the night. An exasperating evening thus far for Steve Spurrier. Philadelphia on top 30-7. Pinkston and Thrash, and at the moment the Redskins are getting thrashed as James has scored a touchdown to make it 30-7. Akers to kick off. Kenny Watson and Darius Thompson back to receive for Washington, but Bob McElwee has other ideas, at least for the moment.
We're not ready to go. He's going to come up here and talk to his officials. They're going to have a little meeting here in the 30. I think this is as good as I've seen Donovan McNabb play. I mean, everything. I mean, he's thrown it short, he's thrown it deep, he's run it, thrown it, he's run. We said earlier he's the closest thing to a one-man gang that there is in this league, and he's been a big one-man gang tonight.
Huge. Run 4 times for 21 yards, scored a touchdown, scored the first touchdown of the night. 277 yards already in the first 35 minutes of the game through the air. And Kenny Watson takes that in the end zone. Of course, they get the benefit of kicking off from near midfield because of the personal foul on the touchdown play.
Yeah, you wonder how David Terrell got man-to-man on James Thrash. Here's Terrell right here, and you see here's Champ Bailey, who would normally cover Thrash, and because he blitzes, then that puts the safety or Terrell on James Thrash. You see there goes Bailey. Now Terrell has to come right back here, and he's not a cover guy. He doesn't have the speed, and James Thrash really didn't put any moves or anything. He just ran right by him. That was one that Donovan McNabb read perfectly.
As you say, the matchup you want, the matchup you dream about, the matchup you have to manifest, and they do. And then it's caught on a slant here by Gardner, and that's a 16-yard gain as he's taken down by Blaine Bishop. So Danny Werfel at the helm. Steve Spurrier won the Heisman in '66, and then Werfel won the Heisman playing under Spurrier in '96. But he's been sparingly used. Werfel hasn't really seen any significant action since '99 as a backup at New Orleans. Since then, he's played very sparingly at Green Bay and last year at Chicago. Yep.
You know what they did? See what they did is they got up there and they set and then they got up.
76 offense.
Yeah, I don't know what.
First down.
I don't know what the heck they were thinking. It was like the whole right side of the line got down, then they all started to stand up, like they were in a huddle or something.
Like the old Dallas move.
Yeah, I mean, see here, they just they're down and they just all stand up in the right side. I don't know what Werfel looked like. He started to make some kind of adjustment or check or something. The line stood up.
First and 15 now after the penalty, and this is Stephen Davis up to the 40-yard line. Tackled by Dawkins and Bishop.
Hey, this defense has done a good job against the Redskins. You know, not really letting them get anything going. And you know, Jim Johnson, we're talking about Steve Spurrier and the plays that he calls, and Jim Johnson calls some pretty good defenses himself.
Last year,
and he'll go after you.
Eagles tremendous defensively. Second down and 5. And a flag comes in at the end of that play. Gardner and Troy Vincent, the two involved.
You see that? Danny Werfel's wearing a glove. You know, the first guy that I ever remember doing that was Jim McMahon.
Right.
Jim McMahon did it for cold weather, and he liked it so well he threw a spiral better with a glove on his hand, so he started wearing a glove on his passing hand and always did it. Didn't make any difference what the weather was.
I remember that. He liked it as a fashion statement too, knowing McMahon.
Yeah.
Offensive pass interference, number 87. 10 yards, second down.
Number 87 is Rod Gardner, and you're going to see him. He just comes off here, and right there, right up there, I guess he grabbed. They said it looked like he got his left hand in there. I'm not sure. That was pretty tight coverage, and when you wonder why Danny Werfel threw it there anyway.
Second and 15 now out of the shotgun. They run a stunt, they run a blitz, and Werfel pays the price. Taken down to the 29-yard line by Richard Cook and Sean Barber, the ex-Redskin.
You know, you look at Steve Spurrier there. He looks like he's played for 3 quarters and been the quarterback. There's a shotgun. Now Jim Johnson's pulling out everything. I mean, you know, he's giving them the, you know, the line stunts, the blitzes, the fake blitzes, the zone dogs. He's throwing his whole arsenal at him right now.
Putting his foot on their neck with a 23-point lead. It's third down and 17. This time they rush just 3. 8 back to cover, and the pass is incomplete. Intended for Kevin Lockett. And for the first time in his very brief NFL career, Steve Spurrier hears a cascade of boos.
That guy wants someone else. They already got the second quarterback in there.
He wants Jurgensen.
Well, you know what he was yelling? To take off the glove.
Fourth and 17, and the cheerleaders thinking that there was a timeout.
The cheerleaders thought it was change of possession. That happens after the punt. It looks like the Redskin team and the Redskin cheerleaders aren't in a lot of focus tonight.
No, nobody's in sync right now. This is Barker to the 34-yard line, and Brian Mitchell will bring it back to the 40-yard line. 7:50 remaining in the third here in our nation's capital, but the night belongs to the city of the Liberty Bell at the current time. 30-7 Philly. John Ritter, Katie Segal star in 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter. That's a show you'll see tomorrow night right here on ABC at 8 Eastern and Pacific, 7 Central and the Mountain. Eagles now from the 40-yard line, 23 points up, and McNabb still looking for more through the air. Has to pack it in, and down he goes at the 39. That'll be a sack credited to LeVar Arrington with a minimal loss on the play.
And that was the thing we talked about. LeVar Arrington is going to do more of. You see him, he's a linebacker, but then on pass rush situation, he gets down in a 3-point stance. Now we're talking to him yesterday about Big John Runyon. He said John Runyon's a bully. He said, I have to use my speed because there's no way that I can get in a strength contest with him. That time he lost the strength contest, and you see him, he kind of came back and still got there after he lost the strength.
2nd and 11. Andy Reid pinned last week's loss on himself, saying I got too conservative. So with a 23-point lead, he comes out and throws 2 passes here, and Staley to the 46. Dan Snyder, the owner of the Redskins, and we want to send our best to his dad. He's very close with his father, who suffered a very serious heart attack a couple of weeks ago, and everything going along well right now. In fact, the surgeon was here before the game, and I was talking to him, and they hope to have his dad back at home in a couple of weeks. But I know that's been really weighing on Dan's mind, and our very best to his dad, Jerry. 3rd down and 4 from the 46-yard line with 6.5 to go. Here in the 3rd is McNabb with a flag thrown. Pass low, intended for Thrash. Maybe tip. Bob McElwee, pretty busy night.
Illegal formation, number 69, not on the line of scrimmage. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
John Runyon.
Yeah, that means that the end on that side wasn't on. But let's watch John Runyon here against Arrington. This is what LeVar was talking about, that John Runyon is a bully. John Runyon is going to hit you until the whistle blows. And he's one of those guys that is going to get his hand on. If he can get on you, you're not going to get beyond it.
Unless you're Michael Strahan, who's owned him.
Yeah, but he beats him with speed, too,
right.
and with moves. That's what Arrington has to do. He has to beat him with speed and moves. He's not going to beat him just going into him and getting in a strength contact.
Now here's Landetta. And the 40-year-old with a punt that's hauled in at the 11-yard line by Jaquez Green. Green looks for a flag on the contact, doesn't get one with 6:18 remaining in the 3rd. Skins need to get it happening. Down 30-7. Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Budweiser, delivering beer at its best with crisp, clean, and refreshing taste, known only to the king of beers. Verizon Wireless, we never stop working for you. Disney and Pixar's animated smash hit Monsters, Inc. available on DVD and video tomorrow. And Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Well, the Philly fans having a lot of fun tonight as they came down from Philadelphia, most of them on the train. And Danny Werfel gets taken down by Hugh Douglas at the 2-yard line. Well, that's the Philly fans are going you, and the Washington fans are going boo.
Yeah, and Chris Samuels and Hugh Douglas have been having a great matchup over there all night. And I watch Hugh Douglas here, one of the few guys that gets down in a 4-point stance, gets both hands down. That time he came on a stunt. Samuels didn't have him. See, you have to pass him off to the inside. Samuels takes the outside guy.
Former Jet. Central State, Ohio.
He's a good player.
2nd and 17. They have to go to the ground to pick up some more breathing space, and that's Stephen Davis up to the 10-yard line, tackled by Sheldon Brown, one of 3 rookie defensive backs drafted in the first 2 rounds by the Eagles.
You know, that's an old NFL thing. You know, after a guy gets a sack, then you come in and you run a draw on him. So you get him up the field, and then you just run by him in the inside. You see, that's the thing that they'll always do. It would always be, if someone gets a sack, then you come back and you run a draw right at him, or a screen to his side.
3rd down and 10 against the 4-man rush. Here's a screen. This is Davis, and he can only get it up to the 17-yard line, so they're forced to punt from deep in their own territory with 5 minutes to play in the 3rd.
And the Redskins did both of those things that old-time NFLers, play callers always did. A guy gets you on a sack, and you run a draw on a screen. They run a draw, and then they follow it by a screen.
Shane Matthews started, played the entire first half, and then came out for Werfel here in the second half. There were his numbers on the night.
And he got that hit by Brian Dawkins. Dawkins came on a safety blitz just before halftime and really gave him a knock.
Brian Mitchell back to receive the Barker kick, runs into his own man but remains upright. Gets into Washington territory, and the one-time Redskin takes it to the 45 with 4:23 left in the third. And let's check in with Melissa on the field.
Al, of course, Washington, D.C., one of the cities directly affected by last year's terrorist attacks on September 11th. In an effort to help out, Redskins running back Stephen Davis has created a program he calls Rushing for Remembrance. He invites the family members of Pentagon victims to every home game as his personal guests. He gives them jerseys and meets up with them after the game. And corporate sponsors donate money for every yard he rushes. Last week, Davis raised over $10,000. That money goes directly into a scholarship fund, Al, for the surviving children.
Very possibly before Stephen's done, he will wind up as the Redskins' all-time leading rusher. Deuce Staley breaks a tackle and then picks up 2. Got out of the grasp of LeVar Arrington.
LeVar Arrington's upset about that. He was coming the pressure. Now you have to do that. I mean, you get in this position with these 4:30-7, and you have to pressure. You have to get in the backfield. You can't let him get started. You have to make something happen back there. You have to go for the ball. You have to do those things to try and create a turnover. And the first part of it he did properly by getting penetration. Second part, he didn't make the tackle, nor did anyone go for the ball.
2nd down and 9 from the 44-yard line. And this is Dorsey Levens picking up a couple. Short week for the Washington Redskins, John, because they play the Monday nighter and then they have the cross-country trip. They go to San Francisco next week. So Spurrier's got to do things in an accelerated sense this week. Philadelphia, of course, goes home to meet Dallas.
Yeah, and I think that, Steve Spurrier has to know that he really doesn't have all the parts here yet. I mean, I think, he's a very good coach, and I think he's going to be a top coach in this league, but he still needs some things, and one of them obviously being a quarterback.
3rd and 7, and that's incomplete. Yeah, it's kind of tough to win when the quarterback is cheap and available.
Well, yeah, and then there's other things. I think he needs, a center and some guards. I think he needs a middle of the offensive line. I think he needs a tight end. So it's not like everything is in place for him to come in and use this great offense and come in and win all his games. I think that he's going to build a foundation here in a start. But that's going to be about it.
He can't be very happy defensively either, nor can Marvin Lewis the way they played on that side of the ball either tonight.
No, and the Redskins have always played defensively a lot better against Donovan McNabb. And McNabb hasn't had throwing days like this. I've seen a lot of these Redskin-Eagle games, and this is by far McNabb's best.
Landetta, that kick dying inside the 5. Do they keep it alive? And there's no signal for a touchback yet. It is Rashard Cook who was able to sweep the ball back into the field of play. Let's take a look again. Does he or doesn't he? No, they're going to rule it a touchback.
Yeah, they did. The ball's on the 20, so they've already ruled that.
That's because it actually hit the goal line, which is part of the end zone. So good play by Cook, but to no avail here. At the 20-yard line now, 1st down for the Redskins with 2:47 to go in the 3rd. Werfel hits Davis. That's a gain of 6 yards.
And a big part of this is very good deep coverage, because we're talking about this Redskin offense and what they were trying to do, and they try and go deep to short, and they really haven't been able to go deep. I mean, every time that they have gotten the ball off, they've had to go short, which means that everything deep has been covered.
And now on 2nd and 4, it's Davis. Corey Simon is right there with the hammer on him.
And again, we talked about this Redskin offense, and the center and 2 guards, that middle, they weren't very good last week against Arizona in there, and that's where they've been getting the penetration. I mean, we see it right here that they get penetration. You see, he just goes right by Brendan Sty, and you got to take that step, protect that gap, all those things that an offensive lineman has to do. Sty didn't do on that play. But see what they're doing now. They overload that middle of this Redskin offense, and that's where everyone is going to attack them right in here.
3rd down and 6 from the 24. Werfel throws, caught, 1st down. That's Gardner. And they're able to at least move the sticks as he takes it out near midfield, tackled to the 46-yard line. 21-yard pickup.
Going to see Rod Gardner. He's right here. He's the outside guy. And you see they have a short out, and he's running a hook. You have the inside guy goes out, and then he comes in and runs a hook. And that's, of all the patterns that I've seen the Redskins do on film, that's their number one pattern there. We call short out Z hook.
Flag before the snap. Washington still under 100 yards passing, 95 through the air tonight. Through almost 3 quarters.
Number 21 defense attempting to cause the offensive player to false start. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Bobby Taylor.
That's something, you know, as they started that press or tight coverage, those guys started coming up and faking it. You see what Bobby Taylor's going to do here now? He's going to take, oh, that's okay there. Oh, no. There's nothing wrong there. Usually they call that when they take a step up, like they're going to go across the line or do go across the line. He was just bailing out. There's nothing wrong with that.
First down and 5 from the 50. Werfel throwing into double coverage, and when you throw into double coverage, very often you have an interception. Brian Dawkins.
Yep, and that's when you force it. I mean, you know, you want to be a deep passing team, and as I said, the Eagles have been taking that away all night. And so then you go and you just force one, and this is what happens. Bobby Taylor has him short. You see Rod Gardner. You see number 20 here is coming over the top. That's Brian Dawkins, and he just throws the ball right to Dawkins. You know, if you look, here's what they're trying to do. If we just look at this, they're trying to get a deep pattern here and a deep pattern here, and then 2 underneath. You see, this is what they have: a post up on top, and then they have a corner. A post here and a corner here, and then they're going to have 2 short guys here. So what they're trying to do is get the ball deep. And in that one there was no way.
Deuce Staley now, and they'll start to chew up the clock as he takes it up to the 14-yard line. And they don't have to run another play before they change ends of the field here. As the clock ticks down and the third period comes to a conclusion, you look at Stephen Davis and the Washington Redskins, who are being manhandled tonight by the Philadelphia Eagles.
By the front, and the front and the middle, and those 2 corners for the Eagles are playing outstanding tonight.
Philadelphia 30, Washington 7. Monday Night Football resumes after this from our ABC stations. Sports Center after the game at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. As you look at the White House, our nation's capital, pretty quiet at FedEx Field right now because the Washington Redskins, coming off that win last week, and the crowd very excited before the game. But Philadelphia took the crowd out of the game very early. And they've been dominant and lead 30-7.
It's good to see kids at these games this late at night.
Assuming they wind up in school at the right time tomorrow.
Nah, they don't have to go
that,
tomorrow.
Right?
Nah, it's a football game. It's happening. It's Monday night. It was like a holiday. They go to the game. They don't have to go to school the next day.
Hopefully no truant officers in the audience tonight. Numbers through the first 3 quarters. Again, dominated by the Philadelphia Eagles. 3rd down and 6 from the 16-yard line as McNabb throws and up to the 22-yard line and close to a first down. It's hauled in by Freddie Mitchell, who was their #1 draft choice last year from UCLA.
The Eagles are beating the Redskins every way you can beat someone. I mean, they've beaten them defensively. They've beaten them offensively. They've beaten them throwing. They've beaten them, running. Most of McNabb's running, but it's just one of those things that they came in here, and last week I just felt that that they were so determined because they were disgusted with themselves last week, and I think that brought upon. I don't know if those 2 things equal. If disgust usually brings determination or not, but in their case, I think disgust brought determination to this Eagle team.
I'll tell you what, if disgust brings determination, then the Rams will be disgusted and determined next week.
Well, and they should be disgusted, and they should be determined because, you know, I mean, no matter how you cut it, I mean, you have to put, you know, the best 5, the best 10 teams. The Rams are in that group. And
sure.
The good thing that they can say, okay, you know, we didn't win, but the 49ers didn't win either. So there's not a lot of separation there. And at some point, they have to get it going.
You know, another disgusted and determined team, Pittsburgh.
Well, Pittsburgh has to be, you know, beyond, you know, after you get lower than disgusted. I mean, I think that Andy Reid, you know, had won one game and you know, is on his way to winning one, but the Steelers and losing both and just look like they don't have an answer to what these offenses are doing to them.
Maybe the buzzer went off. I don't know. They might have wanted to challenge initially the spot for the first down, but that wasn't the case.
Well, Steve Spurrier has trouble with his buttons. I know that Shane Matthews was saying sometime he'll keep the button down. You'll hear all the background. Sometimes he forgets to push it, and he's calling in there because calling plays is not new for Steve Spurrier. I mean, he's been doing that all the way back to when he was a quarterback, but calling them live to a quarterback in his headset is new.
So Staley. Well, if you leave the buzzer down, not our man Fred Godelli, but it is good training for some producers in this business if he wants to be an analyst.
Yeah. There's what happens when the officials came over to him. He's going, no. He's going, no, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Usually when you say you didn't do it, you put your hands up like this with your palms up. Isn't that a thing? Like, hey, I didn't do it.
Yep. Me?
Steve Spurrier didn't get his hands up. He's been in some awkward coaching positions, hasn't he, the old ball coach?
Tonight, 2nd down and 7, and from the get-go too. Staley breaking a tackle and then taken down after a very short game.
You know, I was looking. You know that camera we have down here, that handheld camera.
Right.
Sometimes we have the coach do that, and you know, for a while we have Andy Reid do it. We just tell him, you know, when you get ahead like 30-7, then you just take that handheld camera. There's Andy.
Zach.
There's Andy right there doing it. I was looking down at Zach, and he looked just like Andy. I thought, that's Andy Reid.
Tell you what, on a night like tonight, Big Zach can lose about 15 pounds.
Put that cap on Zach, and I'll guarantee he looks like Andy Reid. They're both sweating about the same, aren't they?
Baby. 3rd down and 5 from the 27. And now you have a delay of game against Philadelphia.
You know a guy that does.
3rd down.
Andy's sweating out his eyes. The other guy is playing pretty well is old Hank Fraley in there. You know, the center. You know, he's. I mean, there's great bodies and there's good bodies and there's average bodies, and then every once in a while you come across a bad body. Hank Fraley is a good player and an old center in there with a real bad body.
They listed what, 6'2", 300 pounds,
but he's jiggles.
McNabb running for the first down.
I guess there's nothing wrong with that hand or arm or shoulder or whatever we thought maybe in the first half. And you know the thing about McNabb, and it was the same thing, you know, Michael Vick has and Steve Young had, is not only can they run, but they can run fast. You know, and you can say, we're going to spy him, we're going to keep him contained. Everyone wants to keep him contained. Look, they have him contained, but when he takes off here, he's faster than you are. And he just outruns guys. And that's the thing. I mean, you could say, you know, contain, stay in his face, stay in front of him, do all those things. But then when he starts to run, you got to catch him.
He looks like a running back when he takes off from the 37-yard line. Here's Dorsey Levens up to the 44. I mean, how many running or quarterbacks can you say actually look like real running backs when they took off?
Yeah, no, and he does. And there were times, you know, when Steve Young used to look like a real running back. Sure. There were times when they thought of moving Steve Young to running back. McNabb was a basketball player, though. Remember when he was at Syracuse? He was on the basketball team.
Tremendous athlete. And he's made that group turn into a bunch of bummed out hogs at this point. Second down and 3 as Deuce Staley picks up the first down, and now with some clock eating runs, the Eagles pick up another first down. We go to Tampa next week, down to Florida week 3, and the Monday night game, the Rams against the Buccaneers, who played on Monday night the last couple of seasons, and the games have just been phenomenal, especially that classic 2 years ago in Tampa at the end of the season. Those two teams having at it in a very big game for the Rams, who come in 0-2. Ten minutes left. Philadelphia leading by 23. Levens again breaking tackles, going through the entire defense. Touchdown.
Did he make a move on LeVar Arrington? We talk about penetration. You have to. Arrington got in the backfield. He was untouched. Dorsey Levens put a spinner move on him, and then there was no one to the goal line. But I tell you, the move that he makes to get this play started, watch this. Here's Dorsey Levens here. Now here comes Arrington. Watch that right there. That spinner move right there. Then after he came out of the spin, then he just ran right through everyone. Yeah, I said from the onset that the Eagles just looked too fast for this Redskin defense, and I think it was true early in the first quarter. I think it's still true as we get into this fourth. It's probably more true now in the fourth quarter.
47-yard run for Levens as Akers gets set for the extra point. And a lot like last week when New England routed Pittsburgh, Philadelphia is routing Washington. 37-7 Birds. The Philadelphia Eagles before a thinned out crowd with 9:52 left in the fourth. David Akers has had a lot of exercise for that left leg tonight. Another kickoff, this one fielded by Kenny Watson at the goal line. Back up to the 21-yard line. So the Eagles and Andy Reid trying to square their mark at 1-1 as they get ready to go home and face the Dallas Cowboys next Sunday. Mysterious, provocative, stylish. That would describe Push Nevada. That's tomorrow at 9 Eastern and Pacific, 8 Central and Mountain. The world premiere of TV's hottest new drama. Push Nevada, right here on ABC. Now the Skins from the 21-yard line. Dumped over the middle. This is caught by the fullback Brian Johnson. Stopped a little shy of the 30-yard line. Well, John, there you go. Andy Reid and our man Jeff Zachary.
They're the same guy, I think. Put a mustache on Zach, and you got Andy Reid. Take the mustache off Andy Reid, you got Zach.
Andy's carrying about as much equipment as Zach too. He's got everything on that tool belt.
Yeah, I mean they do that to a coach now when he calls plays. I mean, you got belts and you got things you have to push, buttons you have to push, and then things you have to talk into, and things you have to talk into. When this you talk into if the other stuff doesn't work, then you have to carry that red flag around in case you want to do it. There's your buttons to make the call, and it's tough.
It's crazy.
You're packing stuff. You're wired up. You just hope there's no lightning.
And then Spurrier's carrying the headset that enables him to talk into the quarterback's helmet. Andy doesn't have to worry about that. But Werfel has to worry about getting sacked by Brian Dawkins. And since he was in the pocket.
Hey, Brian Dawkins, we talk about how Donovan McNabb on offense has done it all. Brian Dawkins has kind of done it all on defense. I mean, we saw him, coming a blitz. We saw him intercept the ball. We see him right here. He's going to come up, and he fakes, and he waits until they pick up the first blitzer, then he comes on a delayed blitz.
And he gets a sack there. The quarterback was in the grass. So the ball is spotted back at the 22-yard line. 2nd and 22 after the 12-yard sack. Little shovel pass. And that doesn't fool the defense as Corey Simon takes care of Kenny Watson.
Yeah. Steve Spurrier's biggest job is going to be is keeping the team, because one thing that I do know coming in here, this team believes in Steve Spurrier. They believe in what he's doing. They believe in his offense. They believe in the way he coaches and attack and his attitude and everything. And then you have something like this happen to you. Now you have to, keep that belief. You can't let, believe when you win and then not believe when something like this happens to you.
3rd and 23. The only Washington score tonight on a Jacquez Green punt return. And now Watson up to the 36, but they're still about 6 yards shy of the first down. John, I think, Spurrier knows he has offensive problems and things he has to rectify and work on, but defensively they have to be a little shocked tonight at what Philadelphia has done to them.
Yeah, that's the thing that, that kind of surprised me. And again, it was Donovan McNabb, though. They didn't have an answer defensively for Donovan McNabb. They answered the other things, but they didn't get a pass rush on him, and when they did, he just ran and threw and ran, and he was just too much for him. Donovan McNabb beat this Redskin defense.
Flag thrown. And this is Brian Mitchell, but remember there's a marker down, and Brian Mitchell, who's made a career out of running back kickoffs and punts, and at one point was a running back, a quarterback in college. A little shake right there, but we'll see who the penalty's against. 50-yard return.
Illegal formation, number 52 of the kicking team. That penalty would be declined. First down, timeout.
Chalk up half a century more to the yardage of count of one Brian Mitchell. 37-7 Philly. Well, while we're in commercial, Bob McElwee just announced there was some kind of a foreign substance sprayed on the Eagles sideline, which is across from us. And as you can see, whatever it is has affected all of the people, the players and personnel on the Eagles side of the field. I don't see, as I look at the stands, there are still people, well, there they are now, who obviously can smell whatever it is, but there was a foreign substance, according to Bob McElwee, sprayed on the Philadelphia side of the field. That is all we know at the moment. I'm not going to embellish anything and elaborate until we have some confirmation or other information, but that is why this happened about 10 or 15 seconds before we were coming out of a commercial.
The first guy that I saw come across was Andy Reid, and he just walked right out to the middle of the field. And then the whole team followed him, and they just started walking off, and now all the Eagle players are over here on the Redskins sideline.
Well, whatever it is, since the Redskins have not been affected by it, is limited to the area around the Eagle bench.
Well, all the cameras are out there, and Andy Reid's in the middle of it. He still has his headset on. There's all kinds of cameras and cameramen and camera people and sound and everything out there around Andy.
Melissa, what do you know from down there?
Well, Al, all you could see was Andy Reid running out onto the field and all the players following him, players covering up their mouths, coughing. I just talked to a couple players. They said they're just coughing. And what I feel personally is you feel almost like fire in your chest and your lungs right now. Apparently somebody sprayed something right behind the Eagles bench.
Well, of course, in the post 9/11 environment, you don't even want to begin to speculate what this might or might not be about. But
well, you can see now, Al, that they're starting to walk back. You see Eagle players walking back over their sideline.
No idea whether this is a bad prank or something much more serious than that, but clearly something that affected everybody within, I guess, a radius of, I would estimate, maybe 50 yards.
Whatever it is, Andy Reid took control of it, brought his whole team off into the middle of the field, and now it looks like he's signaling his whole team to go back. And now they're coming back this way again. They started to go back to their bench, the Eagles did, and then they stopped, and then they came back to the middle of the field again. again led by Andy Reid, coming this way.
The league obviously is, and as you look at Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, there are league officials at most every game, and clearly at a Monday night game, a number of them, a number of security personnel as well. And we will just wait until we receive some official information. Daniel Snyder is on the same side of the field that we're on, the other side of the field where the Redskins bench is located.
It is now safe to resume play.
We hope. And we'll tell you what we know from the league officials, and we should have that information very shortly. But the Eagles have now returned to the bench area.
Yeah, it looks like whatever happened was on, as we look at the Eagle bench, which is across the field, looks like it's on that left end down there. That's where they have, looks like firemen and those types of people down there.
The league at the moment telling us that they don't really know what has happened. We do know that McElwee said that there was a foreign substance sprayed near the Eagle bench. That precipitated the Eagles coming back across the field, and now after a delay of what I would estimate to be about 5 to 6 minutes, we're ready to resume play. Tentatively. From the 34-yard line, it is 1st and 10, and this is Deuce Staley inside the 30, and Deuce takes it down to the 23-yard line. Security officials at the stadium are now telling us there was a fight in the stands. Police dispensed pepper spray, and it leaked over onto the sideline. And you know what? That's good news.
Yeah,
I feel a lot better now that I know what it was.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You stand up here and you don't know what it is, and
Sure.
you can't see anything, and you wonder, where it is and where it's going.
Sure, and you fear the worst, of course, in this environment, obviously, as Deuce Staley picks up the first down. And that's why Reid said when he found out what the situation was that it was pepper spray sprayed by security personnel to break up a fight, that it was safe to resume action. Thank God.
And then Andy Reid agreed and said, okay, it's safe, and then we'll continue to play, because Andy Reid did take everything in his own hands. I mean, he, when the situation arose, he took over and took his team off, and then finally said it's okay to play.
1st and 10 now from the 21-yard line, as Deuce Staley picks up a couple to the 19.
We talked about being concerned about this Redskin defense. I think now we're just seeing a Redskin defense that's worn down. I mean, they've been out there and they're just worn down and beaten down and everything. But I still think that they have a problem with speed. And you could just see when McNabb would run, they just couldn't catch him. And they have, and they have good corners, but they need a little more speed in that, in that front four, maybe front 5 or 6.
2nd down and 8 now from the 19-yard line. Deuce again. Heavy workload for him as they run out the clock, and he's tackled by LeVar Arrington. Well, Trotter was really looking forward to tonight's game. Of course, Jeremiah went to the Pro Bowl last year, and then because of a contract dispute. In fact, Andy Reid was telling us, Jeremiah just had an inflated opinion of his value. and they couldn't come close to reaching an agreement. They made him the franchise player, meaning he would have gotten a certain amount of money had they enforced that, and then they said forget about it. If he doesn't want to be here, we'll take that tag off of him and let him go.
Yeah, and it was Jeremiah Trotter thought he had one value and Andy Reid thought he had another value, and in today's football and the salary cap and the way that's the way things go, and there's no hard feelings on either side. I mean, there's some competitive feelings, but Trotter was saying how fired up he was going to be tonight and try and keep it under control and everything, but they didn't have an answer. They didn't have an answer for this Eagle offense. They didn't have an answer for Donovan McNabb playing like he played tonight.
3 minutes to go. Earlier tonight, Corey Simon relishing Philadelphia's stellar defensive play. And Staley takes it to the 9-yard line.
He was giving him the old chop. I think that Jeremiah Trotter's from Hooks, Texas. We had Texarkana, but I always thought he was from Hooks, Texas. And I always said, anyone from Hooks, Texas, man, you got to be tough. Hey, where are you from? I'm from Hooks, Texas. I don't want to mess with you.
Second down and 8.
They're just slowing down everything here now. They know that they have this game won and they're just going to get out of here.
Staley again tries to cut it back. Takes the ball inside the 5 as we come to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes, then the Eagles have a victory. Then they get on a chartered train for a happy ride home. Who'll be on the horse trailer? Well, you know who it is. I mean, that's a unanimous choice. Donovan McNabb, MVP tonight.
Howie, have a seat. Listen.
It's just like a movie theater.
Come to Radio Shack now during the Hollywood in Your Home sale and get an RCA home theater in a box with DVD player for just $299.99. And a 2-room RCA DirecTV system is just $29.99 after a $70 Radio Shack mail-in rebate.
There's just one thing that's missing. A cup holder.
Radio Shack. You've got questions, we've got answers.
Taste buds, two kinds. The little yes man sitting at the tip of your tongue sipping new age mango flavored tap water, and the boys in the back of the class getting all the glory. So for them, there's new Red Fusion from Dr. Pepper. Red Fusion, who's your soda?
The perfect micro assassin. It will take 2 extreme agents to stop it. Antonio Banderas, Agent X.
That's how I deal with stress.
Lucy Liu, Agent Sever.
My turn.
Ballistic, X versus Sever. Rated R. Starts this Friday.
I'm a player in the National Football League.
But that is not who I am.
I'm a member of a community dedicated to making a difference in people's lives. I'm a player in the National Football League.
We're pushing Push Nevada, and it debuts tomorrow night. TV's hottest new drama, special season preview tomorrow night right here on ABC. 3rd down and 5 from the 7-yard line with 2 minutes to play. Dorsey Levens taken down at the 5-yard line, and it'll be 4th down.
The Eagles are going to kick a field goal here.
That'll make some people happy.
There's nothing that can make Steve Spurrier happy.
No,
I mean, this has to be devastating for any kind of ball coach. I mean, you have plans and you're fired up and you think you're ready to play, and then you come in and you get one like this hung on you. And it's so frustrating as a coach because sometimes there's things you can do about it. And even second guess yourself. I could have called this play, or I could have called that play, but when you get beat 37-7, it's one of those things you can't even, there's not any one thing you can pick out.
No, just go home. Go home and get ready for next week. Timeout Philly.
Daytona. Watkins Glen. Road America. Fifth and L. The IS from Lexus. If it handles like a performance car, that's because it is.
New epic in Capcom's Samurai Action Series. Onimusha 2, rated M for mature.
Dantes had the perfect life until his best friend betrayed him.
There will be justice.
Now, it all comes down to one moment. Own the DVD that's loaded with deleted scenes and more. The Count of Monte Cristo. Own it now on DVD.
Damon Wayans stars in the comedy event of the summer.
No!
Yes, a 2-hour comedy event of My Wife and Kids, Wednesday on ABC.
ABC's Monday Night Football being brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up, never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. T-Mobile, get more minutes, more features, more service. And Capital One, who asks, what's in your wallet? If they kick a field goal here, John, it's almost as if, Spurrier is known for rubbing it in. And that would be a rub-in field goal here. They had sent Akers out, and then they call the timeout, and now they'll just run a play.
Yeah, but what if they run the play and they run it in and it's a touchdown? Then
well, it'll make some people happy, as I say, and some people pretty sad.
That's a rub-in run.
Well,
it's not going to be, though.
Won't happen. They don't take it over the top, is what it amounts to. Bruce Smith makes the tackle. John Madden's take on the Rams and John Gruden at ESPN.com. You can log on. NFL.com, Andy Reid's weekly diary. Some happy notations, I'm sure. And for Steve Spurrier, short week. It's on to San Francisco, where they'll meet the 49ers next Sunday.
And that's where Steve Spurrier played. We said he was a quarterback in the National Football League.
Yep.
Played 9 years with the 49ers, 1 year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And there's our horse trailman and our MVP of the game. We got two of them. You hate to go that way all the time, just picking a quarterback. But last week, that's what it was Tom Brady. And tonight, it couldn't be anyone other than Donovan McNabb.
Oh, tremendous. And especially considering we had that package, and you saw he was clearly having a problem with his hand or wrist or shoulder. In the meantime, he winds up with 292 passing yards, and they kept the ball on the ground almost the entire fourth quarter. He ran for a touchdown.
He had a certain looseness tonight, that he came in and then that became confidence, and anything that he did, he was going to be successful.
So the Eagles win a game, a very important early season game. So they start on the road, which means they have 8 games now at home and only 6 on the road. The reverse now for the Redskins, who are 1-1 after 2 home games. And now the Eagles go home feeling a lot better about themselves. Their fans feeling a lot better about the team. And they'll meet Dallas and Houston the next 2 weeks.
And just looking at Andy Reid there at the end of the game, he's feeling a lot better than he was last night. Last night, he was still feeling that Tennessee game, and that brought upon a determination that I think really carried through to this whole team.
Yeah. Game over. Eagles win at 37-7. Back to wrap it after this.
Introducing the totally new 2003 Ford Expedition. It's the only full-size SUV with independent rear suspension for superior control and a smoother ride. The totally new Ford Expedition. Think about it the next time you go for a little drive in the rain. It has no equal. It has no boundaries.
Jim! Hey, Mikey. Here's our TV. 57-inch widescreen. Looks even better than last week.
Can we take it home this time?
Therein lies the problem, Peter. The minute we take it home, I'm going to see it on sale.
You know, with Circuit City's Price Match Plus, you don't have to worry about that.
Huh.
Don't worry, take it home. Because if you find a lower price within 30 days of purchase, we'll give you back 110% of the price difference. Circuit City, we're with you.
Does this mean my video game system can come home too?
Only one new show is being called the most entertaining, the most enjoyable, the most unusual, the most innovative, the most distinctive, the most intriguing, and it's coming.
How far away is Push Nevada?
Tomorrow on ABC. From Ben Affleck and Sean Bailey, Push Nevada is stylish, provocative, daring. This is one of the best new shows of the season.
It's hotter than it looks.
Push Nevada. The adventure begins with a special preview tomorrow at 9/8 Central on ABC.
Only question remaining tonight is what were the security personnel doing spraying pepper spray in the crowd? But at least that turned out a lot better than it originally looked. It turned out fantastically well tonight for the Philadelphia Eagles, who win 37-7. Let's go to Melissa with Donovan McNabb.
All right, Al, well, just to start with that pepper spray incident, a very bizarre, freaky incident, midway through the fourth quarter. How did it affect you?
Well, whenever you see your teammates coming out on the field and, pretty much grabbing their throats or covering their nose, it's a tough situation. And I've never been part of anything like that. So it's a first for me. It's probably a first for Monday night. So hopefully it doesn't happen again.
There were many shots of you that we had during the game grabbing your right hand or your wrist. What was the deal?
That's the second time somebody's asked me that. There's nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with my wrist. At times, you kind of get in the stands where you catch your breath. That could have been it, but nothing's wrong. Everything's fine.
You threw for 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, also rushed for a touchdown. What was the key to picking apart this Redskins defense?
Well, we knew that we can come out and just establish a tempo early, and, we tried to attack by passing the ball and moving the ball downfield, and then we opened up some lanes to run. And I think that's very important for us to have a balanced attack. One thing we did that was excellent was we spread the ball around, and you couldn't just focus on 1 or 2 guys. Everyone got involved, and I think that was very big for us.
Congratulations, Donovan.
Thank you.
Al, Donovan told us yesterday that he thought this one was going to come down to the wire. I think even he was surprised.
Yeah, that wire came at the end of the first quarter. He was phenomenal tonight. Final score, Philadelphia 37, Washington 7. Next week to Tampa, the Bucs hosting the Rams. Now stay tuned for your late local news.